But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Smith Tools and Purchase, Level Playing Poem, Vitali Z, Colton James, Survive the Spin, FE Patriot, Thomas van der Zander, Measured Flat, Tiers Morgan, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, JMels24, Unimento, Iron26, Retro Bill, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Hairy Blade, Mobile Mac 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Yun Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Links, as I say, to Patreon are below this video. With that, I will hand across to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Models. The geoid model, which relies on gravity now, but used to also rely on just the texture of the bumpy rock that is supposed to be the planet Earth, is...
How'd they get those measurements? How'd they measure it under the water and all that in the depths of the Earth? It's all just dog shit. It's like
I know.
Cartoon. It's a cartoon.
There's even scripture that says the heights for heaven and the depth for earth and the hearts of kings are all unsearchable and unknowable.
That's correct.
Ah, very good.
Not supposed to go there, bro.
Hearts of kings. Think about
says
that.
to Job, where were you
For
when
gods,
I
bro.
made...
Not supposed to go there, bro.
I didn't. I just said kings were gods. That's all. That's all I said. Kings were gods. If anybody wants to deny that kings were gods, that's fine.
All right,
But
let's
kings
move on
wanted to be
back to the earth
worshipped
again.
as gods.
How you doing, Nathan?
I'm all right. How are
Oh,
you?
Nathan.
Hello.
8 more hours. 8 more hours. 8 more hours.
For what?
To hear Nathan chanting, "Earth is measured flat."
What do you mean chanting? We're demonstrating, buddy. You and your freaking yo-yo.
Dude, I was absolutely 100% correct. And
You're not
every
talking
time
about
you
yo-yos.
say,
Talking
don't
about
say
Earth.
Earth, I'm going to pull that on you, and I'm 100% correct.
You're not pulling nothing. We're talking about Earth here. Harp Earth. Not
Then you better
yo-yos.
say
And
Earth.
points.
Well, I'm glad we squared that away.
Squared that
Yeah, I was
away.
getting ready to ask him.
How come you're so low?
Me?
Yeah, you. And I don't use the app, so I can't turn you up.
Sound fine to me.
I know, because you have the app, right? What volume do you have, Matt?
I don't know. I go strictly from my phone. Whatever it is set at, it's set at. I don't even know how to get to it.
It might be a little bit low. I'll just turn
You
my
are.
gain up. I've just swapped back to the other
Yeah,
mic,
you
my
are.
normal mic, so it might just be that my gain's a little bit lower than it is typically. I'll just turn it up a little bit.
There you go. Are you not used to this mic? This is a different mic.
I know I am. It's just like I say, the mic I had
there you go.
previously was the Sennheiser that I had on yesterday. I've just swapped back So I only got that mic yesterday, as in it arrived with me yesterday, and I just wanted to test it and make a video with it. Now, normally I only make the videos because I'm selling the mic, whereas in that particular instance, although I do want to make a video of it just because it's cool, I wanted to test it on a show, that is to say for an extended period, to make sure it does work perfectly, because it will be my spare. So like I said yesterday, if this mic that I'm using now breaks, I will swap to that mic, because it sounds so similar. This is slightly nicer sounding, but not much.
It's very crisp.
This one's better. It's a more expensive mic.
Yeah, it's nice and crisp. Sounds like you're right in the room. So what's going on with RF? Are you guys, is this your new server now? Or,
I don't have a server.
RF is, right?
I never have.
Say it again?
I've never had a server. So it's whoever's willing to host me.
What? This is the server you're in now. Isn't that what I said? Or did I say, is this your server?
No, I'm in a different. I'm currently in a different server.
This one, yeah. You're in the Virgin Droid's flip side.
He's asking if this is where you're going to be broadcasting from now on.
From
Nathan.
now on, right?
I mean, maybe. I mean, I'm wherever. It's like I say, I've got no allegiance to any particular.
So the first question then, what's going on with RF?
I don't know what that is. What's that?
RF, the guy who calls himself
Righteous Force.
Nothing. Nothing's going on with Righteous Force. Good guy.
Oh, stop the crap. Righteous Force lined up with freaking QE, Adam, and the rest of the numpties. Stop sugarcoating it. That's what he did.
He's a backstabbing little bitch, and I know that for a fact. We're talking about RF now, and I would be fine with him coming on and facing me because he won't. He wouldn't.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing, Hop.
That's where we
leave it alone. Hold on, let me just finish. That's where we leave it alone.
When you guys had no server because everybody was gone because he brought that gilded crap in, everybody was leaving. I came to him one day and I said, dude, listen, everybody wants to come back to FED, but nobody likes this gilded server. So what you need to do is go back to Discord and create another server, and I'll tell people that we have Discord again, and they'll come back. And he said, really? And I said, yeah. He said, well, who are you going to tell? And I said, well, I got 3 entire servers that I'm going to notify. And he said, what, all the other and the same people and all? And I was like, yes, everybody. So he opened another server, and I brought everybody back. Then he treated me like I'm a second-rate asshole. So I left the server. And then I wanted to come back, and he banned me for life for leaving the server, getting annoyed at him treating the OGs like little bitches. He's a backstabbing little bitch. And I'm not surprised one iota that he turned to the backstabbing little bitch group.
Okay, I have no issue with Righteous Force, just to make that clear.
Yeah,
Neil
well,
has
I do. So that's
you
cool.
do. I get that. I heard. And so does Neil. I don't. And I made that absolutely clear on one of the live broadcasts. Now, this server, Divergent Droid, came up available to use, but at the time, I was looking at all sorts of different servers. That is to say, I went to Lioness or something server. Jenna's server, exactly. Here, and it's just which one looks nicest on screen and offers me the facilities I want. And this one did, so I've now come here. But as far as I'm aware, I'm welcome back. Righteous hasn't spoken to me and said, you can't come back to my server. So as far as I'm aware...
Yeah, but we're not even listed there, Nathan. You're off the map there. There's no more Nathan Oakley.
I heard you were removed.
Okay, I wasn't told that.
The only thing there, if you go to the FED Discord server now, the only thing there is QE. That's it. There's no Nathan's live show or FED. It's gone.
Okay.
He did apparently archive all of the chats and things like that. So you can find everything archived in the archive folder. But you go there where it says FED and it doesn't say FED anywhere in any of the voice channels or text channels.
And there you have it.
Okay. Doesn't mean anything, though. I mean, as far as I'm aware, Righteous Force has not come to me and said you can't come back to my server. So as far as I'm aware, I can.
No, he won't say that.
You won't say that until you try. That's
Are you still in his
that was
server?
the thing. I had no idea. I figured, it's cooled off. I can go back. Nope. You ain't coming
Are you
back.
still in his? Are you still in his server though, Nathan?
No, that's what I just said. He's not labeled as Nathan Oakley. FED is not there anymore.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking if Nathan is still in the server. I didn't ask if the voice chat and the text chat was still there.
I
Yeah,
don't
his
know what you mean
account,
by
his
in the
name.
server. What does that mean?
What is
Does
it?
that mean, like, can you join it? Can you join it?
Don't know. I haven't tried.
How
Oh,
can you join something if there's no name there to join? What would I join?
Is
Just hit a
Nathan
button and
Oakley's
hope
name
Nathan
gone?
shows up?
No, his name's not there, but
Oh, his name's okay.
Can you join? Can you join it? That's what I mean. Like all of us, we're joining. We're here on DD's server. If Nathan's been banned, then he wouldn't be able to join Righteous's server.
I wouldn't imagine
Right.
so. I would expect.
So
I
what
would
did he do? Is his name gone? I mean, that means his account is gone and he can't get in the server.
Here's the server right now. I'm looking right at it. All you got is server announcements, voice verification, quantum eraser, QE live, text chat, QE live. No Nathan, not his name anywhere there. Not flat earth debate anywhere there. Nowhere to be seen. So however you want
So
to
he
take
literally
that,
kicked him
that
out
was
of the
done.
server.
That was done the first week you freaking were broadcasting from Divergent Droids. Within the first week, you were gone. Well, it's FED.
all right. Let me rephrase the question to Nathan. I guess. Are you still a member of that server?
As far as I'm
He said
aware.
his name's gone.
Oh my God! It's the fourth time I've tried to answer him. As far as I am aware, I can go back. Now, if there was a reason that I wasn't, I'd expect Righteous, given that I've publicised his server for about 4 years, to at least speak to me, and he hasn't. So as far as I'm aware, yeah, I can go back. That's true with almost all of the servers as far as I'm aware. Even Politics. So after Politics suggested that I'd been permanently banned, end quote, they've then had other moderators of their server say, oh, no. By permanently banned, we didn't mean permanently banned. You know, okay, but I haven't attempted to go back. In the same way I haven't attempted to go back to Righteous Force, but my estimation, I hadn't left. I've gone to other servers to go to other servers. Now, if upon leaving that server, Righteous Force has chosen to remove my section from it, that's his obligation. It's his server.
Well, it's very simple.
Why would
if
you
your
do
name is
something
not
like
on
that,
the side, you're out. If your name is not there on the side, he kicked you out. That's all there is to it.
But no, you didn't
No
kick
fucking
Nathan out. My
around,
question is,
just look and see his
Hold
name.
on,
It's
Neil.
not there. He's gone.
I did.
Hold on,
That's
Neil.
what I'm saying.
I mean, can I just answer him? Is that okay? No, nobody kicked me out of anywhere, right? Like I say, in terms of the Politics server, I was made acutely and abruptly aware that I was, quote, permanently banned for saying the word nigger after somebody played a clip that had the word nigger used repeatedly. So to diffuse that circumstance, I used the word also and was permanently banned. The person who played the clip presumably is still allowed to go there, which I thought was pretty disgusting. One of the people who banned me used that word in the most racist context possible when he said, and I quote, "Don't treat me like a nigger," end quote. That would be Theo Megaworthy. That's what he
I
said.
was there.
Yeah, right. So he is a racist, but banned me for racism for diffusing somebody else playing a clip that used that word repeatedly. Now, I'm not a racist. I wouldn't expect anybody to suggest I am. But I would and am and will continue to call Theo Megaworthy, otherwise known as AI Overlord, a racist because he is. There is no question about that. However, he decided, pot calling the kettle black, that he would ban me for racism from that server. Now, if you're suggesting that I've been, quote, kicked out of Righteous Forces server, I would say, as far as I'm aware, that is not the case. Now, if it is the case, and Righteous hasn't even bothered to tell me, after promoting
like
his
that.
server underneath every single one of my videos for about 4 straight years, I'd call him a coward and question why he hadn't even approached me about that fact, given the amount of publicity I've given his server. But he hasn't, so I can't, for any reason, suggest why that would be the case.
Well, try joining tomorrow. See what happens.
Why? I don't want
Good
to.
luck.
I don't want to. I don't
Your
want to be
name's
around
not
thieves.
there. You're
No,
kicked
I
out,
haven't
bro.
finished speaking.
Your
I don't
name's
want to
not
be-
there. You're kicked out.
Oh my God! Nobody has kicked me out. Just said that
You're
25
kicked
seconds
out. I
ago.
guarantee.
You don't have to
He's
argue
telling
with
me your
me.
name's not there, so you're kicked out.
Sorry, is your name on this server, Harp?
Yes, it is.
Where?
Obviously, on the right side. See, this is the problem. You've been doing this for what? How many years? And you don't know how to use the server.
No, that is
Crazy.
true.
It's insane. So,
Meanwhile,
you
not
go
having my
all
name
the way
above
down
one of the
bottom, you can see
doors,
Harp down
not
there.
having my name
All the way
above
down
one of the
bottom
rooms
side.
doesn't mean that I'm banned from a server or have been, quote, kicked out. I haven't. Leaving of my own volition and going to a different server, and then you say, well, since you have not been there, they've taken your name off one of the rooms. Okay. Does that mean I've been kicked out? No. What does kicked out mean? It means you've been removed. I haven't been removed from anywhere. Having left of my own volition to go somewhere else, maybe temporarily, maybe not. You're saying, well, you've been kicked. No, that's not kicking me out. Me going, oh, I'm going to go to someone else's server today. It's like you leave a bar and go, I'm going to go to a different bar. Why? Because there's different drinks there. I want cocktails, not beer. So you go to a different bar, you're drinking a cocktail, and someone comes in and goes, you were kicked out of that other bar. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about? I left and walked into a different bar. Now I'm drinking cocktails. You're saying I'm not welcome back at the bar that I was in previously.
Correct.
That's not being kicked out.
This is the same thing he did to me. I left the server because I was pissed off the way he was doing things. And when I came back, when I thought it was cooled off, nope, he ain't coming back. Now, if your name is not on the right side of the server, you have been eliminated. That's all there is to it. Period.
You know
If
what
you
I mean?
go
Yeah,
back
on
to
the
the
right-hand
bar
side.
and they
What does
say,
that mean?
get the fuck out of here. Don't
does
you
that mean?
understand what you just did?
What does that mean
I
on the
was too
right-hand
drunk.
side?
Well, then get the fuck out of here.
What does that
But
mean?
first of all, stop swearing. My goodness.
What does that even mean on the right-hand side?
Hop, you're not. Your name is not on this server either. Right now,
Yes,
you're
it
in this
is.
server because you joined.
What?
You joined Divergent George server.
Yeah,
That's why your name appears.
right.
Okay, you joined the server.
That means I'm in the
runs a
server.
show from there. He could go back to freaking Righteous Force and run a show there if he wanted to.
As far as I'm aware.
Yes. If your name is in the server roster, that means you are a member. If your name is not in the server roster list, that means that either A, you have been kicked out, B, you have been banned, or 3, you have taken it upon yourself to leave the server yourself.
Correct.
Okay, that's what you mean by the right-hand side. A roster list. So there's a list of people who are members of a particular server. And you can see the full list of whoever's members in that server, can you?
Yeah, it's on the right-hand side.
And you're saying my name's not on that list?
I'm not because I've been banned
I
there
didn't
for
ask if
long
you
enough.
No, Nathan, your name is not there.
So what you're saying is, after 4 years of promoting Righteous's server, he hasn't even contacted me before removing me. What a coward.
No, that's what I told you last week. I said your name's not even there no more because I went in there to see if I was still banned from leaving messages in FED text. And you're totally gone from there.
Oh, wow. That's gratitude for you.
Uh-oh.
And I know it took like 15 minutes to tell you something that's so fucking, I'm sorry, so simple. You can be so thick sometimes.
No need.
Nathan's not a Discord guy.
Crazy the way
Help
Matthias.
if you understood how to use the server when you
Don't.
come into one, you know?
I don't, because I don't
That
use
might
them.
help.
I don't. All I want is a public gateway so that I can hear your righteous voice telling me I'm stupid for not understanding how to use server. I don't care. I don't need to use them. I don't need to be in the server beyond having a public gateway so you can join. In other words, the facility is for your benefit.
Yeah. So you're saying it wouldn't help you if you knew how to use the server?
No, because I don't care. I don't go into the servers to chit chat with people. I have it as a public gateway for my live show so that I don't have, no offence to you, you coming into where Neil is. Now, there are certain individuals after a given period of time that I do invite to be in my main panel. Now, that main panel is tightly controlled and has access to all of the back chats and certain facilities that I use to run my show. Now, you guys have got your own little chat within the flip side, and you can talk amongst yourselves, but I don't care what you're saying. Literally, I couldn't care less when people are like, I've posted this link to... I don't care. You're in a voice chat. I'm here to listen to what you've got to say. When you tell me that you've posted, not you personally, but when somebody says, I've posted a link to this video in the Discord server, I go, I couldn't care less. Now, if somebody from my side, that's the panel, deems it worthy, they will post it in one of my internal chats for me to see. But I rely on my panel to do that. I am only one man when running a live show with about 20 different windows open. So the Discord is, no offence to people who run Discord, because I am extremely grateful to Righteous Force for having hosted me for 4 years. Now, I do see it as a bit cowardly, given that that was mutually beneficial for him, having had his server publicised underneath every single live stream daily for years, to not even approach me and say, oh, you know, you went to another server temporarily. Well, I don't want you back. Why? It's like you'd at least expect him to have said something, but he hasn't. Now, according to you, I'm not on the roster, or whatever you called it. Matthias made it a bit more clear what you were talking about, because when you said you're not on the right-hand side, in my window now, the right-hand side is just the list of all of you lot in the server. That's what I thought you meant. It's like, well, if I'm not there, I'm not going to be on the list, am I?
Oh, okay.
Then
I'm not even looking anywhere near what I was talking about. Okay.
He's gonna say to you what he said to me, Nathan.
Right.
When he took me off, when he took me off moderation, he goes, well, you weren't coming in anymore, so I didn't think you wanted to be in here anymore. So that's what he's going to use. Well, you were broadcasting from Divergent Droid, so I thought you didn't want to be here anymore. That's how he's going to spin it.
Sure, but if I'm not on the list to go in, then I can't go in, right? I'd have to go in and get voice verified after publicising his server for years. Now, for someone like Jenna, can you hear me talking? For someone like Jenna, she's not removed me from a list because I'm not currently broadcasting from her server, has she? But Righteous apparently has, in spite of me publicising his bleeding server for years on end. All right, well, that's gratitude.
So that link is on a lot of your videos still, you realize that. So you're still publicizing the server. As a matter of fact, remember the other day when I was trying to get the link to join it? Because I was getting unbanned from the YouTube by you, remember?
Was that you?
Yeah, it was me. Harp will not be silent.
If I'd have known, I wouldn't have unbanned you.
Well, I sent you a video, and you did it before I got the video to you. So,
speaking of, Nathan, on some of your live stream in the live chats, I'll type something on there and hit send, and I'll exit and then come back, and it's no longer there. So
well, I need to unban you.
If
if one of the moderators has banned you, because I won't, I don't ban anybody from my live streams. There's got to be pretty extreme circumstances for me to do so, right? But the mods will. Now, I trust the mods, but if for the sake of argument, someone like yourself says, well, I can't see any of my messages, yeah, your chances are that you've been banned by one of the mods. Now, I don't mind unbanning people. What I need is a video from your channel. Because if you just say my channel name is X, and I type that into a search in YouTube, there's no way in hell I'll find your channel. But if you've got a video from your channel with a link to it, I can then go to the About page on your homepage for your channel, and then go to the little flag, and then unban you. But without a video or a direct URL link to your channel directly, I will never be able to find your channel. And I've done it too many times over the years where I'll spend 25 fucking minutes pissing around trying to find someone's channel. They're like, my channel name's Jin1. I'm like, type in Jin1. And you either get a list of load of videos or a list of a load of channels that have all got the same name. You're like, I haven't got time for this. You need to give me something specific. So if you give me your URL for your channel, then I can go there and I can unban you by going to the little flag on the homepage for your channel. Ideally, if you've got an uploaded video, that link will get me straight to your channel. in seconds, and I can unban you within 20 seconds.
It's literally in my profile here on Discord.
Oh, yeah, because that's what I want to do. I now, with 5 minutes to go before starting a live stream, want to go into Discord, something I've just explained I don't use, and start looking for... No.
I didn't say do it right now. I'm just saying, whenever you do, I was kind of insinuating whenever you do have free time.
I don't.
And if you wanted to.
I don't have any free time, ever.
You unbanned me somehow before I got the video, before I clicked the video into this server.
Yeah, because I will make the effort to try once, and if I can type in "harp will not be silenced," and what I did for you was I took a screenshot of the chat.
Oh, okay.
And then with the picture on my iPad, I can highlight the actual full name of the channel as it's typed with lowercase and uppercase as they are. And then I took that, pasted that into a search in YouTube, and by pure chance, it did actually bring up your channel first attempt.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
pretty
but
good.
Normally I wouldn't go to that effort, I'll be honest. It's because I like you, you prick.
That's because I bring fun to the show.
And call me
and
stupid.
Confusion.
Oh, yeah, that was really fun yesterday. I had such a great
You guys
time.
are just brain dead, man. You can't think. You don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about
I had
the
so
earth.
much fun
If you
talking
say
about
you can't
mud
get a point-
balls with
You
pools
can't get an
inside them.
elevation off a ball. You're setting yourself up.
And
8 more
freaking
hours, dude.
yo-yos.
Let's do 8 more freaking hours of that. Keep going on. 8 hours.
D Rose did a blinding job with that because he summarised it and then you conceded immediately once he'd verbalised it. It was like, as soon as you described a concave section, that's in a ball, not on a ball. As soon as he said that the conversation swung, thanks to D Rose.
Yeah, but I was saying once you carve
The
into
thing
that,
was,
it's not a
nobody
ball
heard
no
me
more.
say, yeah, it's inside until way later. Because I kept saying it's up on the hill in the ground. On the hill in the ground. That's what I kept saying. And then he said, yeah, he's not saying on, he's saying in. Correct. That's correct. That's what I meant.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Nobody's not understanding you saying in. My point was once you carve into a circle or sphere, it's no longer a sphere or a circle.
Anyway.
No videos to go over? Did anybody post any normies measuring Earth flat?
I haven't looked
I know.
in.
So bottom line is we're staying here, right? That was the answer I was trying to get.
Maybe not. I mean, like I say, I will go
Maybe
to
not.
other servers
That's good enough.
if appropriate. I have no issue going to any server that will host me. And Divergent Droid server at the moment is a very nice server. Very happy with it.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of new members too.
Hopefully,
Going up the place.
like with Righteous
It'd be
Forces
pretty big.
server, I publicise the link to Divergent Droid server daily now that I'm using it at the moment to live stream from it. So I would hope that anybody who does listen to me literally shout it out and say, if you want to join, you can click the link below. That means that there's, tens of thousands of people that get to hear that.
Well, that's gratitude for you.
It's the same thing he did to me. I brought that server back. I'm the guy who brought everybody back to the server. I'm the guy. And I'm the guy who got banned for life. Yeah. Amazing gratitude. Who doesn't know what a firmament is in the Bible? He does. He's a never
see
mind.
why I don't want to run the server now? You're not having a go at me, are you?
No, I was talking about RF.
Right, but I was ultimately still using that as my residency. So often people would say in your server, and I'd be like, it's not my server. But that's why. That's why I keep it that way.
Right, but I knew it wasn't your server because I helped them create it and I brought the people to it. So I knew it wasn't your server. I knew the first server before wasn't. It was all Righteous Force.
Right.
Self-proclaimed Righteous Force.
Right.
No, I was
Always
Betty's
been a
before
dick,
Righteous.
always will be a dick. He thinks he knows about the Bible. He doesn't know shit. He's a retard. That's enough.
It was Betty's server first. She handed it to him.
That's correct. Because what did it get taken down? Did her server get taken down too, or did she just?
Yeah, somebody
Yeah,
posted
yeah.
something against the protected people, and
Yep,
what
I remember
happened
that.
was it was, yeah, and then we had to go to Gilded. You remember that, Nathan? We had to try to
Yeah.
freaking go into Gilded to stream out of. I hated
Yeah, it was crap.
Gilded.
Everybody left. Nobody wanted any part of Gilded. That's when I went back to him and said, "Dude, nobody's coming back because they don't like this crap Gilded shit." And he's like, "Oh yeah, well," and I made it good. And I'm not going to tell the story again. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah, pat yourself on the back once. The second time you do it, it's not good. Let me pat you on the back. Good job. Was it worthy of getting banned? That means showtime.
Yep. I hear nothing.
If it's not showtime yet. If I hear anybody from Discord, it's not showtime. I know it's showtime when I hear nobody in Discord, which should be happening very soon.
How about this for a topic before it goes? Just
Oh, boy.
because it's horizontal doesn't mean it's flat.
What?
That's the new
Okay.
that's the new rhetoric. Just because it's level doesn't mean it's flat.
That's correct.
Oh man. 8 more hours.
That's correct. Okay, you tell me you can't level a shelf on your wall that's not flat. Have you ever seen some of the shelves they come out with later? Do you
Oh my
understand
God!
that you
We went
level
through this
pictures
5
that
years
are
ago,
ovals?
Hop. We went through this 5 years ago. We're not talking about shelves. Everything we talk about here is pertaining to the
Hey, what
earth.
did he just say? Okay, look it. You're going to have to say Earth if you mean Earth.
That's what we're talking about.
The show's not called Flat Shelf Debate, Hop. You're doing the same thing. You're taking little things and saying, "Well, I can have a very lumpy shelf, but
Are you
it's
going to
level
tell
on
me
my
that
wall."
Earth is
We're not
completely
talking
flat?
about that, Hop.
So Earth is completely flat.
Yeah, it's
We're
measured
not
with
talking
respect
about
to,
the. It's measured
with
that way,
respect
yes.
to
Hop.
horizontal, yes. In terms of the overall topology, yes. Overall flat, yes, absolutely without question. In terms of any deviation from that flat surface level measurement, you'll be describing it with respect to a horizontal plane. Earth is described and measured as a horizontal plane. Good to have you all. Welcome, one and all. It's the eve before the eve of New Year. Not that it's in the slightest bit new in the middle of winter when we have New Year, but that is what we call it. Augusticine, or however you say it, that's responsible for giving us New Year in the middle of winter.
Yeah, it used to be April 1st. That's why they got the April Fool's joke, because people still celebrated New Year's on April 1st, the way it should be. The beginning of spring, life beginning, everything coming to bud, roses blossoming, right?
Yeah.
Weather getting warmer, live. But they changed it to January 1st. So everybody that still continued to celebrate New Year on April 1st were called those April Fools.
You know who does celebrate it on April? Financial institutions. They also work on a lunar calendar.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember how the saying goes. Something like the millionaires pay attention to the normal calendar, whereas the billionaires pay attention to astronomy.
Everyone, yep. I heard that.
But it's true, they do. They work the paydays for a big corporate on lunar calendar. That's why I get 13 payments each year, right? anybody who's working on a corporate pay structure will know that you've got a set interval between your pay period, which doesn't match up with the months. So it'll tick back as you go through the year. Your payments get earlier and earlier throughout the calendar month.
So how many weeks do you wind up with? Because I'd always wind up with 52 weeks of pay.
Yeah, the number of weeks doesn't change. It's just how many weeks are ascribed to a month for a pay period.
And then you got the leap year thrown in there, right? Now you got to figure that out. It's every 4 years, correct?
Yeah, it's because it's just not divisible into the numbers system that we currently use. So when you look at how the moon-sun cycle works to derive time with, it doesn't match with the derivative number values we as mere mortals have ascribed to give that a conceptual meaning in numbers. So turning what is just essentially the movement of a light into a concept that we can understand and put on a calendar has its errors, has its flaws, and those are borne out in the discrepancies, leap year being one of them.
I had a friend that just sent me a text that just relates to this exactly. And I think now I figured out what he was trying to say. He said, I just realized that as a salaried employee, I was getting screwed. There are 7 days in a week, every single week. There are 4 weeks in a month. That is 28 days. There are 365 days in a year. 365 divided by 28 equals 13. There are 13 months in a year, but as a salaried employee, I was paid only for 12.
That's correct.
The bastards got an extra month for free.
Wow.
Yeah, out of the calendar, the way the calendar's divisible. But for your average corporate paid employee, they do get 13 payments per month. Certainly when I was working in an electrical store, now defunct, called Dixon's, it's now, I think Curry's has even gone now. I think it's just PC World, but there used to be 3 different stores. And I used to get 13 payments. The same when I was working in the transitional period between managing a pawnbroker and working as a YouTuber. I had a temporary part-time job as a delivery driver for Tesco. Same thing applied. I got 13 payments each year.
So you got paid by the month?
By the
So that's
lunar
not
months.
that's not necessarily true then. So you're really not screwed.
Depends on who you're employed by. But I would imagine,
Sounds like your friend was employed by the wrong people there, Surf Daddy.
Oh, he's had an interesting life. He's worked for government in we'll just say many different capacities. He's my inside man on that kind of information. He's figured it out.
When we're talking about the glory of the heavens in terms of how they operate and trying to ascribe conceptual meaning to it with numbers as people is sad. You know, we've done an all right job, I guess. It's taken us a while, but it's riddled with flaws, as we are now discussing. A lot of it takes away from how you'd naturally behave and is a psychopathic form of gaslighting. You know, when we celebrate New Year, we're being gaslit into believing something that just simply isn't true. What's new about it? Well, nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's in the dead of winter. Everything's dead. You see any lambs? No.
I see that there's a new list up, Nathan.
New list? What kind of list?
Things that you are not supposed to say as a flat earther.
Is this revised from yesterday?
All maps are flat, proves flat earth. Confuses representation with reality. Maps are projections, not evidence.
Really? So where do the measurements come from? No. The measurements of the scales and the topography of the maps is what lends credence to the suggestion that because a map is flat, it's representing the flat linear distance scale that's used when measuring and surveying Earth. So when we showed the 1950s or 60s, I can't remember which Pathé video, where it's showing how they use some stereoscopic vision to map the terrain and measure it with horizontal linear distance, that is them measuring Earth to make maps. And they are flat. What does that mean? It means, in the most simplistic terms, Earth is measured flat. Now, you can say, no, it isn't, and I can show you where it is. Now, if you want to turn around and say that's not a good argument, it's not an argument. It's a statement of absolute fact. And I can prove it by showing you how they measured it. It's very simple. Earth is measured flat, and when I say it, I can show it with what are the measurements of Earth. That's right. Now, there's going to be people out there that want to sniff their own farts and have arguments about Earth being flat, and they want to tell others that they can't say things. Bunch of little Hitlers telling everybody else what they can't talk about. Yeah, get lost. I'll say Earth's flat because maps are flat. Because maps are flat and Earth is measured to produce the maps. With flat linear distance scales, with miles or kilometres ascribed to those maps. Now, people use maps to not die. But you bunch of wankers who sniff your own farts want to say we can't use it as I couldn't give a shit if you say I can't use it as an argument. I will. But I'll be using it when I point out how Earth got measured to produce that flat map. It was flat, linear, with the distance measurements that are ascribed in the scale on the map. Those are based on measurements of Earth. So you saying on your little pathetic lists that we can't have that as an argument, take that list and cram it up your arsehole, you bunch of little Hitlers.
Well, this one you're going to really like. Solar Polaris elevation angles prove flat Earth. Unverified GP of Polaris. Unverified circle of equal elevation distance. Conceptual horizontal plane of reference at any elevation.
It's not a conceptual anything. It's a measurement of an angle utilising the surface of Earth as part of the measurement. That's another Earth being measured flat and some dictatorial little wankers telling you can't argue it. It's not an argument. When you measure Polaris, you're measuring an angle, one of which is the surface, for an area of equal elevation. Elevation, what's that? Well, that's directly tied to the surface. That's what elevation is. But what an unverified area of equal elevation. I don't give a shit. You can say we don't use latitude, but we do, you bunch of pricks. We definitely use latitude. And it definitely is utilising surface level measurements for areas of equal elevation. Areas, that's circles of equal altitude. What's altitude? Oh, it's got nothing to do with the ground. Wankers. So next time some wanker tells you, you can't use this flat Earth measurement to say Earth's flat. No, you're dealing with a wanker. And tell them. You're a wanker, aren't you? Because I'm telling you, if you're the one out there saying you can't use this flat Earth elevation angle measurement, what's elevation? It's got nothing to do with the ground, you say. Earth's measured flat in all circumstances, but there's going to be shills and disingenuous fart sniffers out there that want to tell you you can't use that as an argument. It isn't an argument. It's a measurement of Earth's surface. Elevation angle? Go look up the word elevation and know that you're dealing with a wanker who's telling you can't prove your point with a measurable fact because they want to call it an argument.
Well, this one is troubling.
Circle of
Go ahead,
equal
before
elevation.
I go, I'll let you go.
Just because it's a circle of equal elevation doesn't mean it's flat.
Yeah, it does. That's exactly what it means. What does equal mean? What's elevation? So just because it says all the same elevation doesn't mean it's all flat. That's precisely what it means.
Ain't that strange? Why would they even bring that up in anything other than positive?
Because they want to
There's
sniff
nothing
their own
derogatory.
farts while they perpetuate the notion that we, as anti-globers, only argue for the distance to a geometric sphere edge horizon. Like we did for about 5 years previous, after the Black Swan. No. The distance that you'll ascribe, if your decent argument for arguing how Earth isn't curving, well, that will need the linear distance measurements, won't it? that are laid out on the maps that have got Polaris measurements laid out with latitude. Oh, but we can't use the maps and the latitude to say it's just flat. We must use the latitude to say it's not ball-shaped. Wankers.
Just before you move on, hang on, Neil. Just to go over that. I mean, that solar Polaris elevation. I mean, anybody who's saying that shouldn't be used as proof of a flat Earth measurement needs the head testing.
Just say to them, don't use it then. Say to them, don't use it then. Meanwhile, when we measure areas of equal elevation, elevation being a measurement from the surface level, I'm going to say it's a measurement from the surface level because it is. What's that? You say I can't use it. Take your rule and cram it up your arsehole while I say Earth's measured flat with elevation angles from the surface level to form areas of equal elevation. That's circles of equal altitude, including but not limited to the ones measured with Polaris off the surface level. What's that? I can't use that. Take it and ram it up your arsehole while I smile at you. Yeah? I'll do whatever I like. When I point out how Earth is measured, it is flat. That's how it's measured. You don't like those measurements. I don't give a shit what you bunch of wankers like. Does that change how the maps are made or how flat they are or how the scale of the distance that's measured by the surveyors is flat? No, it doesn't change any of those things. You being a wanker telling others what they can't do just makes you a dictatorial little Hitler, and you'll get called a wanker by me while I smile and still point out that Earth's measured flat with areas of equal elevation derived from a flat Earth measurement of Polaris. The Earth has been surveyed flat with miles that are laid down in those measurement representations on the flat maps. What's that? I can't say Earth's flat because maps are flat. Yeah, I can. I just did. That's me metaphorically raping you your own shit that you spew to others, who are sometimes dumb enough to accept your dictatorial nature when you tell people what they can't do. Now, I'm not telling you what you can't do. You can tell people whatever you like, and I can tell you to cram it up your asshole, can't I? And call you a wanker whilst laughing at you. That's what I can do. These shills that are out there that don't like the fact we're talking about how Earth is measured in all circumstances. They want to take those measurements, ignore how flat Earth must be to make them, and then argue about how Earth's not a ball. That's what they want to do. Because they're old school anti-globers. They're not flat earthers at all. I said this yesterday. Make no mistake. Start calling them anti-globers. If you like, you can say it came from me. Nathan Oakley said you're just an anti-glober. Because they love to say that's just a Nathan Oakley argument, don't they? Yeah? When you say Earth's measured flat, because it's measured flat to produce maps, it is. But you're not allowed to make that argument. Tell them from me, you're just an anti-glober. You're not really a flat earther. Because they're not.
Well, Nathan, I'll
one of
agree
them
to
has
one
actually
thing.
changed his name to anti-glober.
Hold on a second. It's not an argument. We'll use it as a statement of fact. All right? So you can argue all you want. We'll just declare it as a statement of fact. Now, before I go on to the next one, you got something to say, Hop?
Yeah, I was just saying that one of them guys over at 24/7 has literally changed his name to anti-glober.
Yeah, these people are psychopathic. They like to recycle stuff that I've said, don't you? Who do you think came up with anti-glober? Yeah, you can use that. You've got my permission to use my stuff. Yeah, you recycle what I've come up with. Maybe one day you'll have an air of originality. I noticed Dave McKeegan, so Wandek sent me one of his messages, and in his message, he called Wandek Sweetie. I laughed my tits off. I'm like, can't you come up with your own quips? You have to nick them from Professor Dave Explains, you pathetic little twat. Oh, my God. You see how you get away with that? You'd be sucking my dick in that fantasy, Dave McKeegan.
Oh, boy. Number 5 is, this one is kind of interesting because it moves away from the measurements, because at first I'm like, it seems like they're just attacking measurements. But listen to this one. Denial of atmospheric refraction understates reality of image distortion by changes in temperature and pressure altering the path of light. Since when do we have an atmosphere?
We don't. That's an oxymoron.
That's just them demonstrating they don't know what refraction actually is.
No. Neil was right. Neil said, when do we have an atmosphere? Refraction's
don't.
real,
so
right?
is Vaxi. They're both right.
You can describe mathematically what a refraction is. You will need a flat plane to do it. But when they insert this oxymoronic atmosphere, that violates the base principle of how you'd measure refraction. And it will be with respect to a plane. Earth's measured flat in all circumstances. Refraction's no exception.
This one's going to drive you crazy. Ready for this one? With their 69 nonsense. 69 miles per degree fallacy. This angular relationship neither betrays nor supports the law of perspective. 69.
What's it got to do with perspective? Talking about a Polaris measurement of a flat Earth. So what, this fallacy, sorry, are you trying to turn how we've derived latitude into an argument that's fallacious? No, it's just how
This
we
comes
measured
from Bev.
Polaris, you bunch of wankers. Yeah? Yeah, take your
That all
rules
came
of not
from
talking
Bev.
about stuff, cram up your assholes. No, that is how Polaris gets measured. Don't you like it? Go and talk to the cartographers that came up with that system, not us. You're saying it's a fallacious argument. No, it's how Earth got measured flat with Polaris to form the 1 degree for every 69 statute miles, or 1 degree for every, 60 nautical miles. Those are measurements that you're utilising a flat Earth elevation angle to derive. You think it's an argument? You think it's fallacious? No, that's how we lay out latitude, you bunch of fart-sniffing dickheads.
Do you not remember Bev saying, has anybody proven that that's a real measurement?
The
And
maps.
do you know how much crap that started, bro?
Right, I
That
don't
went-
care.
And
If Bev says it, it's on the maps.
yeah, remember Bev and Elder Bear, they were saying, how do you know it's 60 nautical miles per degree? Have you
On
ever
the
measured
maps.
it?
It's
You
on the
could
maps.
Go out there and do it.
Pair of
Remember?
fart-sniffing retards. It's on the maps. What's that? Am I a cartographer? Did I make the map? No, but it is how maps get used. You're saying it's a fallacious argument? No, they're tools that get used to stop people dying. You pair of fart-sniffing idiots. What's that? It's a fallacious argument? No, it's just how the maps get made. You're saying it's wrong? I don't care. It's still how it gets measured, though, isn't it, with elevation angles to Polaris? Whether you like it or not, you pair of dumbasses.
Yep. At the end of the day, it's an
And then
elevation
Vaxi
angle
was trying to
taken
tell
from
him,
sea
Hold on,
level.
wait,
and they were
God's
doing the
sake.
same.
Just 1 second, Wandek. Go ahead, Harp. I don't think you'd finished. Sorry, Wandek.
And then Vaxi was trying to tell him, right? And they were putting him down, muting him, bullying him. I heard him come in with Jedi, and Jedi saying, well, yeah, I agree, but it's not a triangle, and I almost crapped my pants because those people over there are abject retards.
Yeah, what's happening?
They're
Harp?
disinfo. Besides the fact, go ahead. What?
Well, what they want to do is be the arbiter of these things. Well, can you prove that it's measured? Because suddenly they're in a position of authority where they're debating you about what you've spoken about. Well, what you've spoken about, if you're talking about Polaris measurement, is something that's been utilised to stop people dying in the form of mapping and surveying Earth. It's got nothing to do with the person presenting that factual data. But if Bev and Elder Bear can make it seem like the onus is on you to prove it, then suddenly they can be in a position of authority where they can disprove it. As they sniff their own farts in their own intellectual superiority. You're a pair of nothings. You're nobodies. If Bev was run over by a bus tomorrow, we'd still measure altitude angles to Polaris for mapping. You fucking retard. They want to think they're more important than they are. That somehow they've got some bearing on how the maps get formed. You haven't. You're insignificant, inconsequential nothings. Unimportant in the grand scheme of how people use maps. And they do measure Earth flat to form the maps, survey the world, and use the maps after the fact. The scale on the map is flat. If I was run over by a bus tomorrow, that would still be the case. But Bev wants to feel like he's intellectually superior to the person he's talking to. Yeah, you want to feel like you're a special little snowflake, don't you, Bev? You're not. You're a retard. And maps will still be measured flat, whether you're here or not, you pathetic retard.
This one, flat horizon at 120,000 feet. Counterpoint is the globe is too big to see curvature at this height.
Sorry, what's the height again? Height? How do we get the height? So let me get it straight. They want to argue for an altitude measured off a surface level that's flat perpendicular to it, to then suggest that an argument utilising a flat Earth measurement isn't a good measurement. When in life and death circumstances, when all of the instrumentation on an aeroplane goes out, they'll use the horizon, and the altimeter's measuring the surface level with respect to a flat plane. But if we can just use that 120,000 feet measurement off a flat Earth and just ignore how flat it is, then we can tell others that they can't use a certain string of words as a argument. No, we're measuring Earth flat for you to express your own intellectual superiority when you're telling others that they can't use this flat Earth measurement to say Earth's flat. Yeah, they can. You've got my permission to call those people wankers and tell them to shove their list up their own arseholes, and then continue to say Earth's measured flat with the height that you're telling me I can't describe the horizon from. Yeah, we're still measuring Earth flat for that height though, aren't we? It's an altitude. What's that? Well, when we're talking about altitude, it's got nothing to do with the ground. Yeah, it has. It's a measurement of Earth's surface level perpendicular to it. It's what elevation, that's altitude in this instance, is. What's that? It's not forming an area of equal elevation when you measure an altitude angle for a circle of equal elevation. That means same height and the surface. Yeah, it does. It means Earth's measured flat in all circumstances. But what, there's fart sniffers out there that say it isn't? Yeah, of course there is. Yeah? Because they want to seem special, like they know more than you. Well, maybe they do. Maybe they're smarter than one man. But in their mind, it means they're smarter than everybody. Yeah, they want to feel special. Yeah, let me just talk straight down the barrel of this camera to someone like Bev. Bev, you're a fucking retard. And you're not special. Yeah? No one is. We're just measuring Earth flat, though. Regardless of how special you want to consider yourself. Same goes for Elderbear. Just a wanker who wants to go around telling people what they can and can't say. Yeah, that's what little dictatorial Hitlers are like, aren't they? Telling people what they can say. Me, I'm very much the opposite. You want to believe in a ball derived from flat Earth measurements of surface level? You can. Be my guest. You have my permission.
The B part of that is perception of flatness from limited field, curvature visible in wider lenses, but note eye-level biases.
I have no idea what that string of words even meant.
Don't you think, though, just a quickie, don't you think it'd be much more proactive to do a list with, say, 3 or 4 points of actual facts of the matter, how Earth is measured flat, and just stick with these and you won't have a problem? There's a positive list for everybody, not a negative list.
I agree. We should put a list together of how we should have done this a long time ago. Why don't we, at the tip of the sphere, but we'll say sphere for a joke, at the tip, why don't we put together a little list of how you morons should stop arguing and start declaring what Earth is?
No, they can do
and
whatever
how
they like.
we know what Earth is.
No, do whatever you like, right? If you want to start, I'm not going to stop you from forming your lists. You want to go out and make a list so you can sniff your own farts and tell next man how much smarter you are when you dictate to him what he can't say? You be my guest. But I'll turn around and say, yeah, it is still measured flat, though, regardless of whether some fart-sniffing dictatorial Hitler tells you otherwise. But I'm not going to stop him. Make your lists, feel free.
That's fine, because we could have fun with it, but maybe some people need help. Maybe they don't understand that the debate has been over for some time now. And to linger on in a debate that's been settled as us coming to an understanding that it's not a debate. This is how they staged it. Whoever that hidden hand is, this is how it was all set up. But now we came to a clear understanding of how the Earth is measured. And it can only be measured flat.
Yeah,
so
all
that's
that
not
means
an
is
argument.
what you're saying is the people in the arena that we have typically dealt with don't understand mathematics or geography. But they do understand a lot about 9/11. Yeah. Well, what you're saying is the people around us are idiots. Yeah, they haven't looked at the maths. Yeah, that's right. They haven't gone back to the primary source research in terms of how Earth actually got measured. Yeah, that's correct, Neil. Do I care, though? Not really. Yeah? Earth will still be measured flat regardless of whether or not these idiots that surround us that like talking about 9/11 figure it out or not. Whether they look and understand how Earth is measured. How is Polaris measured? What? With an elevation angle, yeah, it is. What's elevation? Well, definitely tied to the surface. That's what elevation means. But they say it isn't. Well, why are you arguing with them? It's because you want to argue. Normally, people argue when they aren't 100% confident in their own understanding of things. So they want to thrash it out with somebody else, maybe increase their knowledge and understanding. I can totally relate. I've done it for 10 years. Meanwhile, now I don't care what some fart-sniffing dictatorial Hitler tells me I can't argue about. I know how Earth's measured. But it's interesting, the moment I knew for sure and without a doubt that Earth was flat, I stopped caring about proving it to others so much. It became far less important to me to convert next man to my belief. But when I wasn't 100% sure, or didn't have what we used to call the silver bullet, then I was very keen to make next man understand as I thought I did. Because I only thought I understood and knew for sure Earth was measured flat. I didn't. When I looked at the measurements, though, then there was no doubt anymore. That's just how it got measured. Flat in all circumstances and without exception. Doesn't matter if you're dealing with refraction or elevation angles. Surface level, eye level will always be parallel. Sea level will always be the reference for the topology changes with respect to Earth as a horizontal plane of reference. It is measured that way. Now, those aren't arguments. Those are statements of absolute fact. And if you understand them, you won't care about next man being a fart-sniffing dictatorial Hitler telling you that you can't have a certain argument. Because to understand these measurement facts is to understand that they aren't arguments. Then you won't care what someone tells you can't argue with. Because you won't be in some other man's server feeling like you've got to express your superiority to next man while you tell him how much better you understand how Earth is dealt with. Once you understand, believe me, you'll stop caring.
Just to well said, Nathan, by the way. But also, just to reiterate what I've just said, like, why it's a red flag. Why is someone putting so much time and effort into saying, don't use these arguments because you could trip up with these arguments, not really flat Earth proof? Why aren't they just putting the flat Earth proof right down in measurement format and saying, this is all you need?
That's a good
You know what I
question.
mean?
That's what I'm saying. That's a good question. It seems like people want to still argue. So why are you going to highlight the very thing that knocks out the argument altogether? Why highlight that? They still want to argue. Nathan's right. They're anti-globalists, and that's the bottom line.
Superiority, so they can feel like they're more special than the next man they're talking to. That's all it is. People trying to elevate themselves. Do you know what it really exposes, right? When you get to someone like me highlighting this fact. Oh, right, you want to feel intellectually superiority. Right, you have a low self-esteem. Yeah, you don't value yourself very highly. Internally, you're not telling yourself how smart you are. Me, that's all I do all day. I know I'm ace. I don't need to prove to the next man that I know better than he does. I already know I'm ace. Yeah? There's no need for me to prove that standard. But people with a low self-esteem need to express that to next man so that for a temporary period of time they can feel superior, but only temporarily, while they're telling that man that they know better. And then telling that man that he can or can't do something. So you get to feel special for a few seconds. And that's all it all boils down to. These pathetic, self-loathing wankers needing to feel special about themselves for just a few seconds. Because the rest of the time, they're pissing in their pants, full of dread, and they are full of self-loathing. People like Bev, I've seen that pathetic little twat in life. Yeah? He loathes himself. Now, he's listening to this cringing, and I damn well know it. But it's a fact. Most of these pathetic individuals have a high degree of self-loathing, and they need to relinquish themselves of it. So they express their superiority onto next man. I know better than you, and I can tell you what you can't do. Yeah? Load of little Hitlers.
I think you hit it right in the head because Elder Bear's constantly went, have you heard my argument? Have you heard my argument? Argument? We're beyond the stage of arguing. We're just pointing at Earth is measured flat. And it's true because if you read that list, it's very technical. Some of the stuff I don't even understand. So they're using this to gain intellectual superiority, like you say. And we're just going to the bare, simple facts of measurements. Like, there's nothing needed here.
Yeah,
You
but
don't
they
need
don't
a
get to
high
feel-
degree of intellect.
They don't get to feel special anymore. Now, we had a compadre on our own side that pointed this out to us. His name was Brian. He said, well, if you just point out Earth's measured flat, I'm not needed anymore. That's right. You don't get to feel special because you've spent ages learning how the complex arguments work. If it's just measured flat, any idiot can understand it, can't they? But in terms of Bev and Elder Bear and Brian included, they don't get to feel special anymore. Brian was just like it. Why haven't I got more subs? Why aren't I recognised? Because they're all what gets termed as the secret king. Pathetic little beta cucks that need to feel special. Look, I've got an argument. Why isn't everybody looking at me? Yeah, when you've got a bit of self-confidence, you don't care whether or not people are looking at you. But they will be. But they're just not looking at you, are they, Elder Bear? They're just not looking at you, are they, Brian? No one gives two shits about you. It's because you're inconsequential to most people. That's not because I'm pouring scorn on how pathetic and unimportant you are. I'm saying to most people, there's only one person that's important to them, and that's them. Now, whether or not they are self-loathing or find themselves quite self-aggrandizing is down to the individual. But they're not concerned with you. But what you find yourself concerned with is anybody looking? Is anybody listening to my argument? Yeah, that's your self-loathing leaking out for everybody to glance upon. And it's sad. Pathetic, if you will.
Well said.
So basically, we can put ourselves out of business of arguing or debating or thinking about flat Earth by one question, which is basically provide one measurement of any aspect of the surface of Earth that does not require a horizontal plane of reference.
Yes, very well said. And the answer to that question is there isn't any. They are all with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. All Earth measurements, without exception, are flat. That's how Earth got measured. So there's had to be a very complex process where we take the geography and mathematics of Earth measurement and separate them from a group of individuals who argue for Earth not being a ball. That's what we have experienced for the last 10 years.
Yep. All globe proofs will require a flat Earth.
Yep.
End of story.
That's right. And they become increasingly complicated, so that the people who express those very complex globe assertions that also violate the base principle of Earth measurement can seem important. Oh, look how clever I am. I understand Keplerian motion. Oh, yeah. So you can tell next man with the complicated words, you give them the old razzle-dazzle, bamboozle them, baffle them with bullshit. That's all you're doing. Baffling next man with bullshit so you can feel like you're more important. Just know your own worth. I know I'm a very special snowflake. I don't need you to confirm it. You should say that to yourself every now and again. Look in the mirror and don't look like you want to tear your own eyes out. Don't feel like you're a pathetic, sad individual. Don't ask yourself why people aren't listening. Because you're oozing that pathetic nature when you ask yourselves those questions. When someone like Elder Bear says, have you heard my argument? You're like, oh my God, it reeks in here. Reeks, you're pathetic. Don't get yourself some self-worth.
Please, sir, may I have some more? Please sir.
Listen to my argument. Why aren't you all repeating my arguments? Why aren't my arguments? Oh, piss off, you pathetic little sad twat.
And he even had Bev come in and say, hey, Neil, you got to listen to Elder Bear's argument. Have you even heard it? I'm like, are you serious? I'm not interested in arguments anymore. What arguments are you talking about? We're talking about measurements here. We've gone past it.
Why?
These are still in the dark ages.
Why do you think they appealed to you, Neil? There's a very specific reason. I don't know if you realise.
Well, I don't know. This is when this just opened up. The Virgin Droid opened this server up, so everybody just piled in. Talking a while ago, this was going on. I think they recently got banned. Well, they know I'm going to bring it up on the show.
No. It's not because you're going to bring it up on the show. No offence to you, Neil. I don't need you to bring up anything. It's because you represent every man. If you are saying I don't need these arguments anymore. I understand Earth's measured flat, and that's the end of it. And you're very dogmatic about those facts, then that represents a lot of people who feel the exact same way you do. Now, I've described Jin as that recently, and it's true. Jin represents a lot of, God, he's going to hate me saying this, anti-globers that want to argue that way. Now, it doesn't mean to say that Jin doesn't understand that Earth is unequivocally measured flat in all circumstances. He does, he's expressed it plenty, but he'll still strap on, but that means it's not a ball, because he wants to have that argument still. So he is genuinely representative of a huge chunk of people who are internal to this group. Neil, in that regard, is even more important. Neil represents your everyman. He represents your average Joe normal. Now, maybe Neil will take that offensively, but that's how he is representing the people on this panel. So when you, Neil, say, it's not about an argument anymore, we just measure it flat, that really grates on the people who want to have an argument so they can feel intellectually superior.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying that if I'm catching that it's not an argument anymore, then that everybody's going to, there's a problem here.
Very
if
much
the
so.
everyday man realizes it's not an argument and it's just a measurement, then where are we? I got you.
Well, the audience will relate to you, Neil. I don't know if there's a certain term that I was taught in college when learning performing arts called alienation, which is to say that you can detach the audience from what you're trying to communicate with them if you do it badly. You alienate the audience. And you don't want that to be the case. You want the antithesis to that. You want them to embrace you and relate directly to you. Well, there's a certain demeanour that I give off when I say things like, I know I'm Ace, I'm a very special snowflake. There's going to be plenty of people out there that can't relate to that. Now, that's not because they're all fart-sniffing idiots like Bev and Elder Bear, but for whatever reason, there's going to be people who don't directly relate to me on that particular level, and I can understand that. But that's why I've got a panel. That's why you're here, yeah? Because you are my everyman in that regard, so that the people in the audience who do directly relate to you can have that passed on to them. And it's powerful, Neil, very powerful. And there's people out there who want to oppose that.
Some
Yep,
guys
I can
will
see that
over
myself.
there. They will argue. They will argue with trolls for hours. The only way I can listen to them is if I have a show that I could just keep jumping forward, so I could skip the goofiness. But then they'll take Vaxie, who is kind of dragging him around inside the triangle, and bully him and mute him and tell him he's wrong. Crazy. And they won't concede. They will not concede.
Concede?
But it's not a triangle.
Right.
Right.
Well, shit, just like that time Jeremy came in here and then he got sat down with 10th Man and they went over how it is a triangle. He agreed. And as soon as everybody left, he flipped his script again. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, I heard it. And same with A, and then they got the, whatever. They're a bunch of little kids over there. This is basically the bottom line, another bottom line. Little children.
Yep.
Yeah, because they want to be special.
Nothing I haven't
I already
been saying
told you
all-
that they're self-proclaimed rock stars, right? And then I heard the most recent one was the Pentagon of flat Earth servers. Yeah.
Yeah, see?
That's
I
right.
love it. Self-aggrandizing bunch of dicks.
Let me ask you a question. I don't go over there. If you guys go over there, that's on you. I don't see Nathan going over there, but I see them coming over here. So if they're the Pentagon, then why are they coming here?
Got better food over here.
I guess they're sending their police over, you know.
Yeah, because we threaten their superiority. That's why we undermine them on a regular basis. When we talk about Earth being measured flat in the most simplistic of terms, anybody can understand it. Well, if anybody can understand it, they don't need to appeal to them anymore, do they? So we threaten that superiority that they've built up. That's why you've got lists of arguments you can't use, can't you? Yeah, I can. Now, that does take a certain level of self-confidence. Should I go on camera when I'm this relaxed, laid back? Probably not, but I don't care. Yeah? It takes a certain level of confidence when someone says, here's my list of things you can't argue. And you look at it and go, and just laugh in their face. That takes a certain level of confidence. Some people don't have that.
Or you could use it as toilet paper.
As far as I'm concerned, there's only one special list, and it's got 30 words in it.
Uh-oh. The one deck list of things ballers cannot say. Can you give us a few?
Ironically, they'll attack one deck's list and make fun of that while not looking like giving any, kind of discrepancy to their own list.
There's an addition to that. Can't say without proving a flat earth. There's an implication behind it. We're not saying you're not allowed to say these words. We're saying when you do, and you will use these words, because they're earth measurement words. But when you do, you will sink to your knees and acknowledge how flat you must measure earth to use those words, or relinquish your use of those words. I don't give a crap which you pick. And it's not like I'm saying you're not allowed to say sea level, but when you do, you'll sink to your knees on the rock of understanding that is flat earth measurements. Or you'll say, I don't want to use sea level. Don't use it then. We give them a choice. We're not dictating to them what they can't say with our list. One deck's list.
I'll bet every part of that list, every word, refers to an aspect rather than a shape.
Correct.
Am I right?
You are correct.
So all you have to do is, whenever they say any of those words, is point out, does that word apply to a three-dimensional shape or just an aspect of something? So is the aspect of a sphere have anything to do with horizontal or an angle or perpendicular?
Perpendicular, like surface level measurements for altitude. Does the surface level measurement for altitude refer to a shape or an aspect you're perpendicular to? Oh, it only refers to an aspect of the ground that you must be perpendicular to describe 120,000 feet, for instance, to tell other people that they can't argue about the horizon. Yeah, you're going to need a flat earth, though, aren't you? What, you don't want to acknowledge that an altitude's directly tied to the surface level. You don't want to. Then why have you got it in your dictatorial Hitler-like-esque list of things that other people can't say, then? You want to use flat earth perpendicularity to surface level to tell people what they can't do? Yeah, wankers. Yeah, you still need a flat earth, though, don't you? When you use the things on that list that one deck rattles off quite frequently, you will require sinking to your knees in acknowledgement of the perpendicularity and aspect that you need to make your dictatorial demands to next man so you can feel a bit more superior than him. So you can get away from your own self-loathing for that few moments.
Has anyone here ever heard of a complex curve?
One of those ones that are in therapy and, they're having troubles with their marriage.
So here's what this argument is. So when a glober says lunar eclipse, so you have a sphere that's being cast the light from the sun through the so-called spherical Earth to the moon, or vice versa with the solar. They say that there's no way that there can be a circular shadow because of two spheres. Now I was going, whoa, really?
Okay.
And then I heard it again.
But the assertion, before you carry on,
I got to test it.
Just before you carry on, the assertion relies on orbital motion derived from Keplerian mathematics that utilise flat Earth measurements and prerequisites. Hold on.
Because the claim is that you cannot throw a light at a sphere and project a circle shadow from that sphere to the other sphere.
Yeah, I got that the first time you said it.
It will not be a circle.
I'm trying to address it, though. I don't need it repeating. I heard it. Yeah, okay. I heard you. Meanwhile, to assert that Earth is said sphere and the light that's causing the occultation is a sphere requires the orbital motion derived from Kepler that is utilising flat Earth prerequisites in the first instance to create that orbital motion. So if we just whistle past how we created those motions to infer the sphericity of the occultation, then we can start saying how it would or wouldn't work with respect to Earth being a sphere. No, the derivation starts with Earth being measured flat to create that orbital motion, though.
Right.
Yep.
But my bottom line is that's a false claim because I took a globe, a softball, flashlight, and my camera, and guess what? They're circles. And I'm going to post a couple of them right now here in your Discord that you'll never see, unless, of course, someone takes that and puts it in Master B for you.
There we go again. We're dealing with softballs and small things.
Hold on. Harp.
It's a false claim.
It's a false
You
comparison.
understand?
Exactly,
Yeah, it's a false
Nathan.
claim.
A false comparison, because if you just take in isolation two balls and describing how they would occult one another with a torch, how is that directly related to Earth as a sphere? Well, it isn't. But the moment you do try and use a false comparison and connect it to Earth being a sphere, I point out that the suggestion that Earth is a sphere came from flat Earth measurements.
Yep. Hallelujah.
Yeah, there's no need to go there. Once you laid down the
It's
using
a
measurements
false
to even get that,
claim.
you don't even have to go there.
But the claim relies
Explain
on
that, the
two
false
things. One, that you make a false comparison. Two, if the false comparison is accepted, that we whistle past how the orbital motion in the false comparison was derived and formed in the first instance, using flat Earth measurements.
Same as that Greek guy measured it flat.
Exactly, one deck. Once we come to the understanding that, wait a second, how did you even get this? How did you derive this? Oh, from a flat Earth? Everything else goes out the window.
Exactly. If you're going to infer that you've got an occultation of spheres in the sky, where did you get that notion? Well, by measuring Earth flat is the answer to that question. Okay, so we have to violate the base principle of the Earth measurement that created that system to say whether or not it compares to balls that I've got with a torch. No. If you want to infer that Earth is that ball, then you're going to need to measure Earth flat to do so.
That's one angle that I've been hitting on lately is whenever someone says model, but they always say globe model, and then they try to go off onto, what's your flat Earth model? I don't see your flat Earth model. I just ask them what's a model, and tell them, because they're not going to answer me, that a model is something that's based off of exact measurements that are then transferred proportionally to a smaller model based on exact measurements of the thing that you're modeling. Where are your globe Earth measurements for the globe model? Which, of course, they can't come up with any, because there are no measurements of anything other than the aspects of the surface of Earth, which are based on a horizontal plane of reference.
Well said.
Then it's done, and they're pissed off because the argument's over. It's time to talk about the ball game or something.
Perfect.
Exactly. Well said. Yeah, when you get down to the nitty-gritty of what got measured, the equatorial plane of reference as the surface, with the globe Earth being the protractor you use to measure the angles with, well, then we're measuring the surface as a flat plane to create this system that you can bifurcate and have an orbit go through the centre of the flat plane that you measured, making the protractor the globe Earth. Well, we're not lingering on a protractor, and we are measuring a flat surface to create that protractor for you to believe that you're living on. But I'm not going to suggest for 1 second that the orbital motion you think creates an occultation in the sky to describe eclipses with has anything more to do with the flat plane that we actually measured than it really does. And if you want to say that that's real, then the measurement of the flat plane that you measured off the surface is also real. Therefore, Earth was measured flat to create your belief.
Yep. That's it. Before they start want to talk about any sort of nonsense, just get one thing clear with them, and let's discuss the measurement of Earth first before we talk about any lights in the sky.
That's
and if
correct.
They're claiming they live on a globe, say just let's confirm your globe measurement then, and when they give you an angle measurement, then we can talk about that's not a curve measurement and Earth is measured flat. Then you can't go any further with any other nonsense with the heliocentric
all over.
model.
then it's all over. That's
Yeah.
why you can't go there. Then it's all over. And that's what people are avoiding. The fact that it's all over, buddy.
Yeah,
Well, another thing people are avoiding is that measurements are empirical, aka true, and maybe even establishing that simply is a good way to find out whether you're going to have a good conversation or not. Just ask them. If I've got a 2x4 piece of wood and I measure it to be 2x4 inches, or maybe 2 7/8 inches by 4 1/16 of an inch, is that measurement true? And once you establish that, once you measure it, you know what it is, whether it's exactly 2x4 or not quite exactly 2x4, you know empirically what that measurement is. And then just keep hitting home that measurements are empirical truth. So that
I'd
you can
stay
know.
away from empirical, though.
Empirical, doesn't it just mean, without a doubt?
Yeah, but they're going to put you in the science realm. They already tried to put this into science and found out it's pseudoscience. The measurements are just exact measurements. They're true measurements. A measurement is a measurement. You don't have to put empiricism on a measurement.
Well, aren't they synonyms?
No, not exactly. So it's directly tied to a scientific description. So if you've got it being based on experience, observation, or experiment, then that's what they'll lean into. Or at least that's what Neil's point is.
Exactly.
Well, it depends. If you know that they're going to go off onto pseudoscience, I might actually prefer to put like buzzwords like empiricism in there with measurements, because oftentimes they'll use measurements as part of the scientific experiment.
Oh, so you'll pull on them what they pull on us. I got you.
Yeah, well, and also put the buzzwords in correct context. Something empirical is true. This thing either A, causes or does not cause something. That is a truthism. It's a truth statement. So, as well as a knowledge statement. So, they can't, once you establish that a measurement is a truth statement, then
the
they
same thing
can't
applies.
use something like light years. Light years is a truth
Just one sec.
statement. You're not measuring.
No.
Okay.
The moment you start describing it in terms of measurement with the word empirical attached, then the measurement would be the differential in an experiment, as in the cause and effect process. So when you're quantifying an observable phenomena, then you're going to describe the empirical nature of it with the measurement of the difference. That is to say, one of the two outcomes in a hypothesis, one being the zero difference result, the other being the affirmation of the cause of the effect. Well, that's your measurement in that regard, but it's still directly tied, if you use the word empirical, to a process of utilizing the scientific method. So that will just bring you back to the standard that they want to afford the measurements to, or describe the measurements with, which is a category error of science. I just don't know what better word. We've used it for such a long time. It was, again, all credit to refracted curvature, because he was the one who pointed this out. It's like, that's not really the right word. If you say empirical, it does have a meaning, and the word measurement can be ascribed to that meaning. It's just not that type of measurement, as in running your tape measure down your 2x4 in your example. It's the measurement of a difference in a experiment, as opposed to the measurement with a tape measure or the measurement of a linear distance.
Well, what I have here, it says, yes, measurements are fundamentally empirical because they involve linking abstract concepts to real-world observations and data gathered through sensory experience or instruments, forming the bedrock of scientific understanding based on evidence rather than pure theory.
Right, so they've got two words at the end of that definition that directly tie it to whether or not it's theory. That's the antithesis of whether or not you've got an empirical measurement. So when they're terminalizing it as measurement, their terminology infers either a zero difference result or the confirmation of a hypothesis. That's what they're tying it to. Now, I'm not saying that the word empirical can't be used for measurement. I'm saying when we use it, it will directly get tied back to science because they want it they want Earth measurement in a scientific category, don't they?
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Well, they want they I don't know if they want Earth measurement in there.
Well, let me finish reading what it says. It says, while theory guides what we measure and how, the actual act of measurement generates the empirical data, numbers representing physical properties like length or blood pressure, that we use to understand the world, making it a core part of empirical evidence. That's AI. I don't think I wouldn't use it because, like I said, they're going to try to link it back to science, and we've demonstrated that it's not science; it's just geography.
Well, in measurements, and I get where we're going, and I agree that using the word empirical muddies the waters and stuff like that. What's interesting about the AI thing is what I latched onto was that it is taking something conceptual and verifying through measurement that it is real.
Yeah.
So
Refracted curvature always says that. Taking the conceptual, it's got to be in reality. So yes, I understand what you're saying.
You're correct. It's not inappropriate to use it. It's just a sticky wicket if you're going to have your opponent take you back to the category error that you're trying to get away from. So it's just vigilance in terms of not using words that will tie yourself to a category error they want us to be in. They want to call us science deniers.
Right. Well, I kind of like the idea now that I'm thinking about it that what measurement does is it empirically, or well, truthfully, it accurately reifies something as real that you can know what it is by its measurement. So I can say a 2x4, all right? And everyone kind of knows what that is, or a 5x7. Okay, yeah, I've got a 5x7. Not everyone knows that I'm referring to a 5x7 photograph. But if I can measure and show you by observation, here, I've got a 5x7 photograph and I've measured 5 inches by 7 inches as that piece of paper, then that reifies or makes real that which was conceptual, and not everyone understood what I meant by 5x7. So, in a way, that kind of looking at it philosophically, I think, could mix things up, because people say circle. The Earth's a circle. Is it? Earth's a ball. Is it? How would you reify that so that that conceptual idea of what a circle is, or a ball, or a sphere, or a flat plane?
Oh, you have to measure that.
Yeah, Earth is flat. See, we see everyone right now is just harping on, well, the Earth's not flat. Just because it's horizontal doesn't mean it's flat. They hate the word flat. When I say flat Earth, then their idea, of course, we all know, comes up with the turnip in space, or the flat disk pancake Earth in the solar system model of heliocentrism, which is the goofiest one. Don't forget to make it square, right? All those images are the conspiracy, or are the plot to keep the narrative making fun of flat Earth. When we're talking about what is true, we reify what we're talking about by the measurements that are true. Empirical, I might say, heretically. But that is the only way to stop people in their tracks and make them think about it. And then the ones that are absolutely denying what is true and just flailing and delving into absurdity become obvious. And recognizable by every man as a nutcase. You know, when you watch McToon nowadays rant and stuff like that, and if I was a normie, man, I'd be like, dude, this guy's creepy, right? And
Yeah, but they have to
I was
take the
hoping you were going to
abstract.
go with the 2x4, bro, because you were going to say it's 2 inches by 4 inches. I was going to call you a liar.
I know. Did you hear me stall a little bit? Because
Yes,
I know
I did. And you know the 5x7 is 5x7. Yes, I did.
Get off my back. Quit harping on me, Hart. Okay.
Hold on. You
Fair
still
enough.
have to link the abstract concept to real world observation, and you can't with a globe.
That's not. No, did you miss what Harp was just doing? He was pointing out the 2x4.
I know what he was
2x4.
doing.
I know, and I got it, We're good. I know a 2x4 is not exactly 2x4 inches.
Not exactly
built a-
2x4. Anybody that works in construction knows that.
Right. Well, I built a chicken coop, and it screwed me up because I'm not a constructionist. So, any rate, yeah, I knew that, and that's why I hesitated when I was going with my demonstration. But I stuck with it because
You're not a constructionist?
I'm not a constructionist. And so,
That's why he used that word, if it's a word. Very good, Surf Daddy.
yeah, I get it, but back off because I'm just.
Yeah, I heard you do it. I heard you switch. I knew you were going, uh-oh. And you went to 5x7, and I knew right away it was a picture. Yep.
Yeah. But it could be a 5x7 piece of wood. I don't know. Anyhow, squirrel. People are delving into absurdity when they look at a definition that has absurdly been changed from level means actually curved, but parallel. And they're mixing stuff up, and people who don't know what is true and don't know what is real are getting all mixed up. I sent it to the chat on Facebook, and this is what brought up my level doesn't mean flat stuff this morning. A guy we're just talking about sea level, and Earth is measured flat, which is triggering a lot of people. And this guy wrote, sea level does not mean the ocean is perfectly flat planar surface. Instead, it is a complex scientific concept used as a baseline for measuring elevations and depth on Earth. And the ocean surface is actually a mosaic of peaks and valleys influenced by several physical factors. What the hell does that mean?
See how he tried to put science in there too?
Valid.
I'm sure I don't even know if this guy on Facebook is an AI bot or not, or he's copying from an AI bot. He actually hit quotes around mosaic of peaks and valleys. What the hell?
See, that's what I was going to hit you with. Your water is not still in the ocean, but if you get back and step back, you can see that it's flat when it's at rest. It's
right, but see, it's not. That's all the argument they have. We're using the horizon to establish horizontal when you're using a sextant. And so arguing about the flatness of sea level is unnecessary because we're not actually using the sea to make level. We're using the horizon, which we know. I hear
echoes of Bev in here. This is what I'm hearing. Bev is responsible for this stuff. Well, because, it's not flat because there's mountains. Okay.
Yeah.
Remember Bev? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
just out of interest.
Nathan went over this.
Sorry, hello. Just out of interest.
I know, but this is another thing that he did. This is just another thing that he's talking about right now.
Gotcha. So when we say there's mountains, how are they measured? What are they measured with respect to again?
Mean sea level.
But mean sea level is a mosaic of peaks and valleys and a complex scientific concept used as a baseline for measuring elevation.
So the heights of the mountains are
used as a baseline. So he said it. Used as a baseline.
So the heights of the mountains are wrong then?
No, they're just taking what is true which is it is used as the baseline for measuring elevations in depth. See, you can't even yell at them because they're saying the truth, but they're couching it in buzzwords like it's a complex scientific concept used as the baseline for measuring. And then that's when they take the tangent plane. Don't you ever heard of a tangent? And say
You're in a
that the
category
tangent
error.
plane, and then they say, yeah, well, that's, you're not hitting all the buzzwords. My bingo card for category error. Quit letting Nathan do your thinking for you, and
Oh, I hate that shit.
yeah, but see, and that's what it devolves to because they cannot stick to the idea of simple truth that the horizon is horizontal, level is level, flat is flat, level and horizontal and flat are synonyms.
That's just another leakage, let's call it, right? When they say things like, let Nathan do your thinking for you, right? What they actually mean is, you should be thinking the way I want you to think. Yeah? Again, that's leakage, low self-esteem. What's that? You're listening to somebody else other than me? I mean, you should be listening to me and saying what I say. Why aren't you using my rhetoric? Listen to my argument. Leakage. That's
Then
all
they'll
that
call
is.
you our priest.
Please,
By calling,
our priest.
let me just clarify what I mean, because that was a good way of putting it. By suggesting that I am your priest, it's a way of saying that they are not your priest, but they want to be. That's all that is.
That's correct.
Behind it in projection, that could be what it means.
Yeah,
well,
leakage,
that's
projection, yes.
projection.
It's the typical Glober move.
Because they're relying on their priests. They're the ones that are saying, are you arguing against the thousands of scientists and geographers and surveyors and pilots? You're arguing that all of them are wrong. Those are their priests. And
Exactly.
they are projecting at that point that you aren't following their priests and their religion. And then they have the gall to project that Nathan's our cult leader and stuff like that.
Correct.
I'm saying, dude, I just gave you a definition of an elevation angle from a website. I just showed you a picture from the FAA that shows that, here's how you do a glide slope. I've got something from the Air Force that shows about a glide slope. You see any curve in there? Well, they're just quit listening to Nathan. The Earth's not measured flat, and it's not really level, but they just do it for simple. We know all the arguments.
Doesn't
and all
matter
that
where
stuff.
you got it from. Once Nathan uses it, that's a Nathan argument, and they're going to say you're a Nathan freaking cult follower.
Yeah, Nathan, you suck. You make it all hard for us to think on ourselves.
But we want you to follow us.
Exactly,
Stop
Neil.
following Nathan.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're really saying. You can put it in a different term, which is you're not following my gurus that I take as being true because you're following Nathan Oakley. Therefore, you're not adhering to what I adhere to. That's how Surf Daddy summarised it, and he's absolutely correct. But it's leakage. It is a demonstration of them demonstrating their own lack of self-worth when they do things like that. Is it privilege?
By the way, Nathan, I'm going to need your address so I can send you my Social Security check.
I'm good. Although PayPal donations are definitely well appreciated.
I'm just calling you a cult leader that you are,
Thank you for this. Thank you for the super chat, Unitox Femu. There's Pritvis Lakes in Croatia has 1-2 levels. Thank you for the super chat.
What lake?
I don't know. I couldn't pronounce it. Pritvis. P-R-I. Is it P-L-I-T-V-I-C-E? I think. It's disappeared off screen now. Anyway, thank you for the super chat. Right, any more?
Well, we got an extra 13 minutes today. Excellent.
What's the matter? You getting itchy? You got somewhere to go?
Me? Always got somewhere to go.
Yeah, you.
Places to
You're
be.
the guy who running the show.
Got to return some videotapes. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's live show possible. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow.
So he's not going to hear us either, right?
No, but then he comes back on and then restarts or opens up or clicks
Or continues
pause.
the recording. Yeah.
Right, for afterwards. I've got the
Yeah,
reference here.
the show usually runs an hour, Hop. Sometimes it goes over an hour, but then you hang tight, and now we're in the after show. You know this.
Yeah.
You're not a newbie.
No, I'm not. I just was excluded for several years because of,
All right, but we're good now. I found the reference to Plitvice Lakes in the chat of the video of YouTube chat. The Plitvice Lake.
Oh, he's good. He just, hold on 1 second real quick. Hopefully he'll undeafen. Damn it. I want to ask the Virgin Droid what is with these neutral roles, because that's bullshit. Nobody's neutral.
Oh, before you deal with internal politics of the flip side Discord server, what was it you looked up from Unitox Femu?
In the YouTube chat, it says Plitvice Lakes has 12 levels. So what I'm assuming is the chain of lakes called Plitvice. It's not Hoosiers talk, not Indiana talk there. So I assume it's in another country. Has 12 different levels. It's like the Great Lakes in Michigan has different levels. If you did an elevation profile of the lake, Great Lakes, or I assume Plitvice Lake, there will be 12 different levels as the lake move toward the ocean eventually.
Right. So what you're saying is the various different surface level of each lake is at a different measured altitude with respect to sea level?
Mean sea level.
You mean sea level?
I do mean sea level.
Oh, dear.
No. When you say you mean sea level, I say no. I mean sea level.
What do you mean when you say mean sea level?
I mean
what I said I mean. I mean sea level.
That's what I mean.
Are those levels? Do you mean that those mean sea levels are all the same level, as in horizontal, as in flat?
No, it's an average because there's tide.
Yeah, it's an average.
But each average is a different height.
That's what the word mean means. The mean is the average.
Correct.
But they're all the same. They're all parallel, right?
Yes.
So the high tide is parallel with the low tide, which is parallel with the mean tide. So it's all still flat.
Yeah, but you've got one overall average.
I have this similar type of thing around me.
You've got one overall average.
Levels of ponds. And
got one overall average to reference the entire surface of Earth. That's what we started with just before we went live. You're like, well, does that mean Earth's measured flat? Like, completely flat? Yes. As a horizontal plane of reference, Earth is completely flat. That's what a horizontal plane of reference is.
Correct.
I've got a beautiful picture of a elevation profile of the entire United States from coast to coast from Google Earth that I use all the time. And it is a showstopper. But they, rather than stopping and recognizing that what I just posted proves the Earth is flat, they just ignore it and move on to something
that
else.
Takes you to,
it's
you've
not
got
really
to jazz it
flat.
up. You need to sex it up. So I'll give you an example of where one of our opponents used a very similar example, but just for sphericity. So Neil deGrasse Tyson was being asked about the spherical nature of Earth, and he describes it as being a little bit more chubby at the bottom when he's describing it as an oblate spheroid. Now, that is often cited by flat earthers, but he goes on to say, if you had Earth at the scale of a bowling ball in your hands, and you ran your fingers over the surface of Earth at that scale, it would be perfectly smooth and perfectly spherical. Now, by comparison, if you're to jazz up your elevation profile for the entire United States, you could describe it in a similar terminology. If you were to run your hands over the surface of the entire United States on a 2x4 table, then it would be perfectly flat, even including the topology. Not, as I described earlier, horizontal plane of reference utilizing sea level. That is, ipso facto, perfectly flat. But in terms of actual geographical, topographical changes, when scaled down to the size of a table that you could put in your lounge, if you were to run your fingers over the entire states, it would be perfectly flat.
Yeah, he used what is reality, but he put it on a globe.
Yeah, exactly. So he's describing topographical changes across the reference that we actually measure Earth with, which is sea level, and then transposing that onto a spherical false analogy comparison, and then saying it would be perfectly smooth and spherical. In reality,
Yes.
the surface of Earth would be perfectly flat at that scale.
And he didn't use one single measurement to reify what he was saying into reality. The entire conversation from him would be just a mental exercise illustration that is what's used to fool people into thinking that he knows what he's talking about. If you just simply ask him what is one measurement for that he just described, then he wouldn't be able to give it.
Right, because he never linked it to something that's in the real world. Right?
Right, because measurements reify the conceptual idea, and the concept is basically just a a mind image. We imagine everything. Nothing is real until we reify it by direct observation and measurement, because observations can be misleading, because as we know, optical illusions are very real by the way we see things. Yeah. Ironically and thankfully, the way we see things must rely on a horizontal plane of reference for us to even understand with our eyes what up and down is. Right. Up and down, left and right. 3D space is only possible by knowing physically, by our feet on the ground and our head in the air, where we are in three-dimensional space.
Hang on a second.
That has to be measured.
I'm getting a word in my earpiece that we have covered some very sensitive subjects today about self-worth. Now, if you've been affected today by some of the subject matters that we have covered, you can contact my self-help line on 1-800-SPECIAL-SNOWFLAKES.
Listen, you're linking the real observable world to direct experience. So that's how we know, and that's how they can't. Unless when they do link it, it will be linked to a flat Earth. Nothing will ever be linked to a globe.
But remember, direct experience / observation does not replace measurement. Those three are separate.
No, that's where it started with the measurements. That's what I'm saying.
Right. But those always have to, when we say direct observation and predictability and all these other things that they say.
No, because they have no direct observation on a globe because they have no measurement.
Look, but if I take a flat Earth measurement of 120,000 feet, I can tell you not to argue for the horizon with that flat Earth measurement, Neil. Do you understand? It's on a list.
That's true. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but yeah, that's my point, though. They can never link it to reality. In so doing, when they do take measurements, they will be flat. So they'll be proving a flat Earth.
It's getting so bad. I've got people that are arguing that you can have a horizontal plane or a horizontal, that when I say horizontal plane of reference, this horizontal reference is bullshit, because you can have your horizontal reference from a point, not a plane.
No, you can't.
No, you can't.
I know that's the absurdity. That's what we have to deal with people who think that curved, or that horizontal means curved, or level means curved. There's no way to go against it other than to just keep pointing out that points aren't planes. You need horizontal to be parallel with other horizontals. If you say you're vertical,
You had it
you
right
need to have
earlier.
your vertical
You had it right earlier
perpendicular
when you
to
said
the
you can't
horizontal.
describe the aspect with a point. That's what you're driving at.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Points aren't aspects.
Yes. That's a better way of putting it. Tangent plane.
I got
Tangent
a
plane.
question.
Right, well, okay.
I got a question.
Where do you get the dingleberry dangling beneath this tangent plane that is representative of the Earth's surface that you will measure without a single point, but as an aspect? Oh, right. Well, you've derived the sphere that's dangling beneath said tangent plane that you've reified into existence from flat Earth measurements in the first instance to create the ball that's dangling beneath the plane that you're actually measuring as the surface. It's pathetic.
I had someone actually offended that I called it a teeter-totter tangent plane.
That's what it is. And one
was
deck
mocking.
says it all the time. What's a tangent plane? There's no such thing.
Yeah. Well, and that's also why they say imaginary. That they lock on to words like imaginary or hypothetical. Line of sight is imaginary, right? The horizon is an imaginary line.
No, it isn't.
Well,
Right,
it is
hold on.
if you're.
Let me get it straight.
It is.
I need to keep up. If I've described my line of sight, that's in imagination land. No, that's the line of my sight that I see. What's that? The horizon's imaginary? No, it isn't. I can see it's right there.
No, they're trying
Right.
to say that. Let's do the
dotted
elevation
line
angle,
between you.
right? They're trying to say that the elevation angle, the line to the sun is imaginary, right? Because you're not seeing a line, but we're talking about the Earth. The horizontal reference plane the observer is standing on is the Earth. So that is not imaginary.
Right, but they have to conflate that because their tangent plane on their dingleberry, their teeter-totter, is imaginary.
Correct.
And that's when I have to actually draw the freaking drawing for them because they refuse to even use the drawings anymore.
It's
'cause
projection.
They know they're stupid.
When they want to use their imaginary tangential plane to a ball created with flat Earth measurements, then it's perfectly acceptable to describe the surface in that way and have it be a surface measurement. When we just describe the surface level measurement, then it's imaginary.
All right, on
Projection.
this dingleberry, where is the ground position of that star then? Where would that be on this freaking imaginary tangent plane? Somewhere in
You
outer
can't-
space?
You can't even get there. You can't even. I'm still getting pictures of giant guys on a circle, the orthographic view, with the teeter-totter underneath them on the dingleberry that has them with their eye line that's parallel with their tangent teeter-totter pointing straight up vertically to an infinite Polaris to show that they're and Nathan, thank you. And I'm just blow. I finally realized with that image, them being on the outside of the protractor, and I saw it perfectly. They were getting their angles from the flat plane of the protractor, and they're on the outside of it. And they have to have the teeter-totter. They have to have their eye level parallel with their teeter-totter that's on the circle, and their eye lines pointing straight up.
Okay, are we done? Are we done yet?
So
Let him finish. Huh?
Come on, bro. He's
Listen,
repeating
hold on a
himself
second.
over and over.
Surf Daddy is very measured. Just give him a minute. I tend to cut him off
Yep.
too, but just relax.
the point is that their drawings are they're still using drawings from long ago that defends their claim of the imaginary tangent plane, and that's why it's difficult to explain to him that the surface they're standing on is actually the flat Earth part. Thanks, Ark. Done.
Thank you. I have a question. First, let me verify when you're doing
Spit it out, man. What's wrong with you?
Because I had to go back to the beginning. I had to go back to celestial navigation. Yeah, okay, thank you. When you're looking at the sun, right, and you're getting your location from the sun, if you keep going up, is the angle of the sun going to remain the same as it was on the ground?
It depends. There's an exception to that rule. For the most part, yes. But there is one exception, which is to say if you have got the angle to the sun reduced because of an angular limitation, that is to say at sunset, then no, that rule doesn't apply anymore. So you can bring the sun back, but that's because you've limited your view of the sun through an angular limitation. So, but for perspective, that's to say the reduction in the sun at the point it sets through an angular limitation, then the answer to your question is no. For every other circumstance, the answer to your question is yes. Make sense?
Okay, so the reason I asked this is because when you go up in a weather balloon and you're, say, 120, 130,000 feet up there, you're looking at the sun straight across the room there in the dark, right there. Not above your head anymore. It's right there. I don't know how many of these videos you've watched. I've watched many, and I thought, this can't be right for the sun because I'm seeing a different angle up here. It's like literally zero right across eye level.
Okay, that's contrary to my understanding, so I'd have to have a look at it.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense because if you go 120,000 feet, you're looking at the sun right across the room there, eye level.
Maybe. I mean, certainly in terms of how celestial navigation functions, but that's typically using the stars. Although, again, my understanding is that you can do it with the sun. So, not to my understanding, that's something to look at, perhaps.
Yeah, because I thought the celestials did not obey our geometry here.
Well, they don't. But in this case, he's saying the sun, which is different to the stars, let's be honest, doesn't behave in the same way as the stars do in that regard. Now, I don't know that is or isn't the case. I'd have to check. But I've not paid that close attention when I'm up at altitude to the sun, whether or not it's changing an angle or not. But in terms of literally how celestial navigation functions, but for the fact that they don't change, it can function.
Right, and you're correct. The sun is different than the stars, without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, that's a bit of a statement of the obvious, but yeah.
Well, not really, because they say that the sun is a star, and it's not. It's the sun.
Yeah, okay. In celestial terminology from heliocentrism, it's just another star. But in very literal terms, it is literally different, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Right. Very interesting.
Oh, where are those videos? Post those videos somewhere.
I just posted one, right? And this one was going to show you not only the sun, but the moon. And they're level with each other.
I'm going to try to bring them over to Master B, Nathan.
So this is a pretty good one, yeah. This JW Astronomy. Yeah, just click because I kept hearing the angle doesn't change it to the stars. And then somebody was saying about the sun, and I'm going, wait a minute, something ain't right here. These aren't the same thing. It's like whoever said there, stars are not the sun. It's not the sun. And if it was 93 million miles away, it should damn well not change, shouldn't it? That's what if it's 93 million miles away, how the hell am I seeing it across the room there in the dark?
Unfortunately, that's still an avenue.
It's in Master B. Sorry, Surf Daddy. It's in Master B, Nathan, if you want to see it.
I know what you're going to say, bro. Don't. I know what you're going to say. I know.
Tell me what to do.
I know what you're going to say. I do.
Okay, tell me what I'm going to say. Tell me what I'm going to say.
Because of what I said, you said you're going to say it's also a thing that's going to lead you into, because I said globe or whatever.
No, you liar.
I probably forgot what I was going to say anyway. So
no, the point is
what you were going to say. I'm confused today.
I know, but I knew you were going to say that.
You know why? It's because I have to sit here and listen to you waffle for 15 minutes at a time.
Hey, You weren't here for the entire 8 hours of yesterday. So you were a little weak in that regard, although you were there for most of it, but not for the whole 8 hours. At any rate, that just leads into the
I was there
discussion.
from 8 to 8. I was there 12 hours yesterday.
Okay.
Not with us, you aren't.
Go on. Go ahead.
Anyhow, Neil, anyhow, the all that does is get into the discussion and debate about the height of the sun and stuff like that. What I like to do.
I'm just saying because of the celestial navigation. See, I knew you were going to do that.
Okay.
It's not an argument. It's a question.
Right. Well, my point is what I do is just bring it back down to the fact that we don't need to know heights and stuff. How do we use celestial navigation? Does it work? And yes, it does work, and it requires a horizontal plane of reference to do elevation angles. End of story. The rest of how that works is fascinating to talk about, but it has nothing to do with whether the Earth is flat or not. And it's just something, it's just gravy to talk about amongst friends who aren't so cognitively dissonant with rage and self-pity that they can't even tell what the difference between flat, level, and curved is.
Well, the question about celestial navigation, it goes to anybody. Like, doesn't really matter, because if you're seeing the sun in a weather balloon and it looks like it's across the room on the wall, and then you turn around, you see the moon on the other side, what's going on? That's not the same angle. It changed, obviously. That's the only question. So are they saying that doesn't change? Because that would not be true. And obviously, I just posted one video. Shows you that's right there. You're looking right at it.
If
It's always
Nathan can
above
play
your
it,
head
put it
in
in
some
Master
way
B.
until it disappears.
Yeah, that it's always above your head. You're always looking up. Everybody looks up. No one is
But
looking.
not when you're 120,000 feet in the weather balloon. You're looking across.
Oh, well, yeah, good point. It's still a little higher, isn't it? Even if it's
hold
a few
on.
degrees.
When is it's a 3-hour video. Where is it where you're saying that it's right across from you? What part of the
Okay,
video?
hold on. I'm sorry. I need to give you a timestamp. Hold on.
Yes.
You can see the sun's right across from him at the beach at sunset.
Yeah, but he's
That is
talking
a
about
phenomenon.
going up in elevation.
Now I know what he's talking about. That is an interesting phenomenon, because when the hot air, when the weather balloons go up to the 130,000 feet popping point, the sun is pretty much just across from them always.
I mean, if you're looking at the thumbnail, you can see what I'm talking about. And I timestamped this one though.
Right. What's interesting would be if you can send up a balloon at solar noon, where would the sun appear to the camera at 120, 130,000 feet? Where would the sun appear? Would it be
Right where I'm showing you it is. Because this is when they do it. They do it in the bright daylight. And that's what freaked me out the first time. I saw it go up into the dark. That was the first part years ago that was like, wow. Okay, so the sun's up there, and whatever kind of gases or what's going on is making the colors, obviously. I never realized that the sun was literally out in the dark like a star, sort of. You know? I never realized that until a few years back. And then recently, hearing all this celestial navigation and sticking in my mind, I put the two together and said, wait a minute, that's like a 3-degree angle over there. If I go back 120,000 feet down, there's no way that that's what I'm going to be seeing. I'm going to be seeing more like at least a 45, if not 60.
maybe, maybe not. You'd have to actually do it. You'd have to actually
watch these videos. Or you can go do it yourself. Me, no, I'm not doing it.
Okay. So when they started the balloon up, did they have a shot of the altitude angle of the sun? Do they show the sun when they send it up?
I believe they do. Let me wind this back. Okay, yeah. Okay, where do we have the sun? Let's see. Oh, we're already way up in the air. Okay, now we're on the ground. Okay.
Because that would be the thing that's, an interesting point to note. Or generally, do they show the time of day that they're actually launching? That would help a little bit.
I don't know that they show that.
I would say usually they do. They try to do it in the morning when it's the coolest, so that the balloon will go up higher.
I may have. See this? I can't get it going off the ground, but I can get it up, and I don't know how far it is up. But then I'm looking at these two pictures that you haven't seen yet next to each other. Okay.
Nathan, are you there?
There's the sun. Oh, you see that they're already way up in the air, but still, I may have just answered my own question.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know what if you're looking at. I don't have access to the.
We're not seeing what you're
I'm looking
seeing.
at the two pictures compared to each other. It's very simple.
Right.
One's on top of the other.
Okay, well, simply, I don't have access to whatever video you're looking at, whether it's YouTube.
Yeah, you're
or,
looking at it yourself, Hawk. We don't got
They're
it.
in Fed text.
Yeah,
They're in
but I
Fed
can.
text.
Oh,
Dude,
okay.
the thumbnail is showing what I'm talking about. You don't even have to click the video. And then I took a picture of where the sun is as they're, I don't know, a couple 100 feet up, 300, 400 feet up, right? So I may have answered my own question.
I finally found it. So
The second video I posted, Nathan, if you want to see it.
okay, from what I'm looking at, considering the altitude and where the actual horizon really is in the high altitude thumbnail, I would say in general, as just a guess, for the sake of conversation, that both suns are at approximately the same altitude angle in each picture, the thumbnail of the video and then the second picture you sent.
I would have to agree.
Thank you. Okay. So with that
Because
said,
that's why I said I think I had just answered my own question.
Right.
Because I hadn't taken note to where the sun began, and now I just did. And all this time, that's all I had to do. That really pisses me off just a little bit.
I'm glad I
Still
could
worth
help
discussing. It's still
You
worth,
didn't help
know.
me at all. I helped myself.
No, it's still absolutely worth discussing so that you can go through that mental
Yeah,
process.
it was
with the
definitely worth
audience.
going through because now we definitely know they're on almost the identical angle, so it doesn't change. So
Well,
there's
yeah,
proof.
but
But
it's
it doesn't
good
change.
because you got
There
me
you go.
questioning it. When you do things like that, it doesn't matter that you're wrong. What matters is the people around you go, well, have I verified this? And when you asked it, I'm like, have I actually been up and checked? Well, the answer's no. Now, does it alter how we use these things for celestial navigation? No. That was the first thing I leaned into. But it did highlight that I haven't gone up and checked, have I? Now, I know that it changes at the horizon, so I'm saying, oh, well, there's an exception to the rule. Well, how do you know the rule stands, Nathan? Well, I haven't checked.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we're
don't
going
check.
by what we understand
Verify.
of celestial navigation.
Yeah, we know how it's used, but that doesn't... just because it's used that way, that is to say, in this instance, right, can we use it as a flat earth proof? Yes, we can. Why? Well, because that's how it's utilised. Well, when is it utilised? When people might die if they don't get it right. So it's pretty critical that it does work in that fashion. But that doesn't alter that, as just general human beings that are intrigued with their surroundings, we shouldn't stand by, well, we've got maps and they work, and they utilise a flat plane. Yeah, so what? Are we just going to stop being inquisitive because we've got this information and it's already been done for us? We're not in the Truman Show. It's not like when the teacher pulls the map down and goes, it's already all been discovered. It's like, well, okay. Does that mean we stop looking? No. Should we stop asking questions? No. Definitely worthwhile.
But something like the celestials, I mean, that was evident in every video you see. on all the celestial navigation videos we went over, it was always that the celestials were different than the terrestrial things on Earth. They stood the same.
Right. Right. And then you got the Globers telling you once you close that triangle, you got a distance. Globers tell you that, usually.
Yeah, they still
No,
have
we're
to have
not
that.
solving for distance. We're not solving a triangle. We're not doing trigonometry. We're
I know that.
utilizing
It
it.
was a little poke. I didn't get the poke.
What you can do when they do that, and I just now thought of this, is that what you can do is confirm with them. Okay, so you're confirming that I have to have a flat baseline in order to complete this triangle to the GP, the 90-degree GP of the star, right? And then
Yeah,
they
that's a
have-
good way.
they
That's a
have
good
to-
way.
Yeah. So you're saying that star's GP is 90, the zenith is 90 degrees to the flat surface of the Earth, right? If you're going to make me predict that the sun is 3,000 miles above the Earth because you got to complete this triangle and do the trig, then you have to confirm that the Earth is flat and that the zenith point is 90 degrees. The zenith point of the star, sun, or whatever
Almost.
is 90 degrees.
Almost. What you're doing is inadvertently turning it into an argument. What do you need to confirm? What a zenith is? It is what it is. And whether or not you argue it with the next man is irrelevant of what it is, isn't it?
Yes.
True. I'm just saying to rebut, to get him off your back.
But that's the point. It's not requiring a rebuttal. It's not an argument. When you describe what zenith is.
Yeah, zenith is the 90-degree perpendicular to the horizontal plane.
So,
of the
so
surface.
if we are using a zenith, is turning what a zenith is into an argument when you put it into an if statement. It's not necessary. But for the fact that we've got fart sniffers that want to make themselves seem intellectually superior when they tell you that an axiomatic principle that is utilised in flat Earth measurements suddenly isn't an argument, or is an argument, or is an argument that you shouldn't be using. You're like, what are you talking about? It's just zenith.
Exactly, Nathan. It is what it is.
And I just kind of proved it. Look at that. Thinking I was going to prove the opposite.
Pretend to get the height of a star.
I
They
proved
can
that.
fucking go and do that if they want.
Yeah.
And if
how
they
about
don't want
that?
to, you don't have to. You don't want to use zenith. Okay, don't.
No, we just-
Well, if you want to
Well,
navigate the stars, if you want to go on a Buck Rogers spaceship, then maybe we will get the distance to the star.
No, they'd use altitude.
You can't possibly get the distance. You'd have to know the distance or the size.
Oh, they
don't
have
know
the
either
distance.
one.
What are you talking about? I could tell you, they have infinite distances.
So what are you going to do? Try to triangulate it from the center of the dot? You think that's where it's at? How are you? That's not going to give you the real.
I have no clue,
distance.
but that's what they do. I'm navigating Earth. This is where I live. I get around on Earth. If I'm lost at sea, I don't care how far away the freaking sun, the star is, or the sun, or whatever I'm using to get my ground position.
I know that. That's why a closed triangle doesn't necessarily mean it's measured.
Oh, it's not a triangle.
First thing that came into my head was a closed triangle, thinking about, oh, how big is that? Because I just had 30 of them go in my head and I couldn't measure one of them. And they were all closed. So that was retarded to come and say that.
It's
from
that you're
Jedi.
not, it's not that it's not a triangle. It's that you're not using trig when the suggestion that we should formulate a height when what we need is a circle of equal elevation to figure out where we are. It's like, well, what's the height? Who cares? I need to know where I am on the surface so I don't die. But you don't know the height of the star. I couldn't give a flying shit.
Exactly what I just said. I agree, 100%.
And then Jedi said, yeah, but the hypotenuse declares that you have to have a distance. And I was going, what? Yeah.
It's not a triangle.
measure it.
Triangle.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, retardation is running rampant. It's in the nation.
Yes, I agree. It's not a
Retardation is right.
it's a triangle, but it's not a triangle. That was his exact words. Which
That was
I think
funny as
he's
hell.
being. I think, and I could be wrong, but I think he's being totally persuaded by AI ego lord, and I think
You're exactly correct.
he's talking to him, and it's a shame.
No doubt.
Or
Because-
he's just too retarded, like I've been saying for months.
Yeah, well, I've been saying it for over a year.
Well,
I left them
anybody's
assholes
retarded that's talking to
because of
somebody
AI.
else.
Same dude. Because of AI.
Yeah.
I said, screw you.
We've
said,
called
"Don't come
AI,
back." I
AI
said, "Oh."
overlord out a long time ago. All right. And that's why I wanted him on a live show, because he says these stupid things in a 24-hour server where they could get lost. You know what I'm trying to say? You really got to look for
Absolutely.
them to find them. I want him to come here, and we know
No,
that
he
this
won't.
show is 24 whatever. It's a 1 hour show.
he won't.
Come and make your claims here.
No, he will not.
If I may just interrupt
He's a
you there,
coward.
guys, for a second. The guys you're talking about, Jedi and that,
There's Jim.
they're all
What's up,
saying,
Jim?
yeah, how you doing, everybody? I hope you're enjoying the holiday period. I was just going to say, the guys you're talking about, in particular Jedi, and if you're not AI, but Jedi and a few others, they're actually saying Earth is measured and utilized flat. They've been saying it in recent days, coming out of their own mouths, okay? So it's definitely getting across to them that Earth is measured flat. They actually say it to the newbies coming in, by the way. So there you go. All right.
Well,
I'll have to listen to
Yes
a
and
recent
no.
show and
Let me
see
just
if
address
that's
what
the
Jim
truth.
just said.
Because most of the time
Hold
they
on a
just
second,
talk
sorry.
to trolls for hours and hours.
Just, it works both ways, Jim. So when I say I don't care if you don't want to utilize Earth as a flat plane. So earlier in the live show, we were talking about Bev and him saying Earth's not flat for whatever reason. Heights and valleys measured with respect to a plane of reference we use called mean sea level. And I said, I don't care if you don't want to utilize Earth as a flat plane. You don't have to. It's inconsequential to me. But that, unfortunately, is a two-way street where when people who are perceived to be on our own side, like, oh, right, so in this case, Jedi, I'm sure he won't mind me using him as an example. Oh, so Jedi aligns with the fact that we argue for Earth being measured flat. Same thing applies. I don't, no offense if you're listening to this, Jedi, I couldn't give a shit if he aligns with it or not. It is inconsequential whether or not he aligns with the facts that we measure Earth flat. We measure Earth flat. So it doesn't matter if people disagree, but it also doesn't matter if they agree. It works both ways.
The point
It'll
is, the
still be flat
situation is,
regardless,
ladies and
is my
gentlemen,
point.
in order. Sorry to cut you off there, Nathan.
No, I'd
in
finished.
order to
I did.
Sorry, in order to achieve an elevation angle, you're going to need the horizontal constant. That the baseline is a necessity as much as you need air to breathe.
Exactly.
So that's the important fact.
Oh, I could kiss you, Jin. That's the way to phrase it. Because then, does
Repeat
it matter if I agree with you? No. Does it matter if I disagree with you? No. It just is what it is. And if I die tomorrow, that will still be a fact. If somebody who disagrees with it dies tomorrow, it'll still be a fact. So it's inconsequential either way. I don't care if you align with me as an argument for it being a proof of a flat Earth. It doesn't matter if you agree. It doesn't matter if you disagree either. It'll still be measured flat.
I want you to
Absolutely.
repeat that.
Yeah, absolutely. The situation of the subject matter isn't subject to their or anyone's disapproval. It is what it is what Nathan is telling us.
Yes, it's not
The
subject
Earth
to
is
your
measured
approval.
and
It's not
utilised
subject to your
flat, without a doubt.
disapproval. Well put.
Yeah, but I want that phraseology he just said. That was good. Right before that, he said it's as constant as the air we breathe. How did you phrase that, Jim?
Yeah, sorry, Neil. I was saying that the situation is that in order to achieve an elevation angle, it is absolutely imperative that we have a horizontal baseline. And that's the situation itself. You know, it's as important as we need air to breathe. It's that fundamental. There's no getting away from it.
Yeah, don't need your
And
agreement.
I did send you a video, Neil, in your private on this Teams. Okay, so check it out later on. It's about what's his name, Russell Brand. Just another angle, that's all, of Russell Brand you might be interested in. There you go.
Tell us all about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, basically, the angle, we've got one angle where Russell Brand came onto the 24/7 Flat Earth server about 2 weeks ago, let's say, yeah. And he was just poo-pooing Flat Earth. Then this video that I put out is when he was going against the narrative where they were pushing the vaccines are safe and effective. And he was trying to promote that and other things that are positive to us that we agree on. You know, that's all. The other angle to Russell Brand. That's what I put forward. And some of his, he admits to his drug taking and rehab and everything else. That's all. So if Neil wants it, he can post it to you as well. It's about 30, 40 minutes long. That's all.
Yeah, people are trying to get away from that horizontal constant, that baseline. They're trying to worm away from it. And you just can't. I mean, that is it. That's the flat Earth.
Yeah. In the Earth Awakening server yesterday, we had a guy called Shoe Bell. That's his name, Shoe Bell, and he's putting himself forward as a surveyor now. And I totally annihilated him with the fact that you needed the horizontal baseline to get any elevation. And he kept saying that I knew nothing about what I was talking about, even though I'm an engineer, plumber, carpenter. Engineering, and he was trying to say that these fields weren't enough to understand what he was talking about. I said, now you're talking out of your ass there, boy. I mean, it's all there yesterday or the day before yesterday. You go to the Earth Awakening server episode and you will hear me totally destroy him. And then yesterday, Gregory said, what was it that Jin said that was inaccurate or inconcise? What did he say? Because he didn't say anything wrong. There you go. So we drilled it home.
No,
yeah, people are learning. They're learning fast.
My question, Jin, is how did he say he surveys the Earth other than flat? I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, exactly. He was just talking nonsense, saying that he uses equipment. And the Earth is, he's assuming Earth to be a globe from the outset.
Assuming?
That was his position. Yeah.
Did he do it with feet and inches?
I said miles. So I said miles, statute mile, and what was it? Statute mile, nautical miles were flat horizontal units of measurement. There's no escaping that. So whether you're measuring local or extending it. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
You said his name was Shoebell, and I said, is he assuming that we used feet?
Yeah. Yeah, well, there you go. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because people seem to be forgetting that, a mile and a statute mile, nautical mile, these are units of measurements that are totally horizontal. There is no curve there. So whatever you're doing with your surveying equipment, whether it's local flatness or you extend that horizontally across miles, these are linear horizontal miles, not curved miles, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what we buried him yesterday and the day before. 2 days of buried.
If they measure it in feet, he sure does have a soul.
That rings a bell.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, the shoe's on the other foot now.
The first platform I was ever on was called Talk Shoe.
What is it called?
Recorded live. Talk Shoe. Just like it sounds. SHOE. Shoe.
Shoe, yeah.
Talk Shoe.
He put his foot in his bucket and he put his foot in his mouth. There you go.
Sounds like an observed phenomena to me.
Let's put it through the message. What's the measurements thereof? Since we're talking science, we might as well talk about measurements.
We run out of puns. Well, at least we dipped our toes in.
You would need the 10th man here if you wanted puns to consistently flow.
I can bring you all to heel.
Well, that's the dog world we're in.
You sure know how to kick it.
Well, that would bring us back to the foot.
8 more hours, 8 more hours, 8 more hours.
Well, I was hoping at some point we're going to do a normie video again. I guess everybody ran out of videos. Maybe the Earth isn't flat after all. We can't
Yeah,
find
we will.
enough normies measuring it.
This is like a transitional period between Christmas and New Year. And it's kind of, I don't want to say it's a nothingy time of year, but, you know, I feel like normal flat earth debate style shows, you know, us covering normies measuring earth flat, as you put it, that will resume in the new year. But for now, it's like, well, it's between Christmas and New Year, so it's, I don't know, it's a more relaxed time of year, isn't it?
Yes. So, Nathan, when was your first ever video pertaining to flat earth? Not your psychopathy and other stuff, but when you turned the corner and you said, I'm going to do this, and it's going to be about flat earth. What was that first video? Do you remember the date?
Sure. I didn't publish it, so I made a video about the depth of, this is very anti-flat earth and anti-globe rather. There's a video of the space shuttle, and in the video you've got these guys that are standing at a fence line about a couple of 100 yards away from the space shuttle, and with the posts I calculated how far away the shuttle was, and by my estimation the shuttle that was in that shot is a 1/3 scale model. That is to say, it's 1/3 of the size that they publish for the space shuttle, and I could show it by scaling it in the video, and I released that video on Oakley Cord, but I didn't release it. So I was so nervous about saying this looks wrong to me. It's just something I'd noticed and thought this isn't right. It just doesn't look the right size. And I remember going to Jaron, who was publishing videos at the time, and I told him that I'd got this video, I just hadn't released it. It was there on my channel and had been for several months without actually being published. And someone in Jaron's chat said, well, why don't you just release it? What's the worst that can happen? So I did. But it was several months after I'd actually made the video. And that was on Oakley Cord, one of my second channels, that video was actually published. That was the first.
What was the date?
I don't know.
The year? Do you remember the year?
2014.
Wow, 2014. So you're entering in almost 12 years, or 12 years into this topic.
Yeah.
Calls for celebration.
I guess so. I mean, I've got a lot to write about in my book.
Oh, by the way, anything new that you could just tease us with?
One of the stories that might get expanded on, and I was discussing this with my wife yesterday, and I said, should I put it in? She's like, well, I'm editing it into a framework that can allow the introduction of these various different anecdotes at the appropriate moment. And what I wanted to do was add in the recognition for my sister, where I'm arguing with her husband, current husband, about celestial navigation, with him disagreeing and saying no, while she's nodding along, yes. Well, I want to incorporate that particular story into the book. I haven't written anything yet in that regard, but no, I've just got to go through it with my wife as she's editing it and introduce that. I might write that next Tuesday when I'm at my eldest daughter's art class, although I might do less of those classes. We were discussing it, my wife and I, yesterday. We just can't afford to do so many classes, unfortunately. And that particular art class, the teachers put the prices up, so we might have to limit that class to maybe twice a month instead of every week, because we just can't afford to do it.
More delays on the book. That's when you did some writing. I remember you saying that, so you used that time to do a little
No, that won't cause any
writing.
delays. I mean, the process of editing it is just how long it takes my wife to edit it. I could take the anecdotes that I've got to date, incorporate them into what we've got written, and it would be a complete book. So I don't need to write any more anecdotes. Far from it. It just needs to be cobbled together in a decent. It needs to be it needs editing, basically, and that's down to my wife. So while I'm yesterday saying, how are you getting on? She's like, yeah, I'm doing all right, but there's not a lot for me to do at this stage. in terms of, occasionally she'll ask me something. I can't remember what she asked me yesterday, something about my phraseology. Oh, yeah, the world that we dwell atop. She's like, do you really use that terminology? I'm like, yeah, quite frequently.
Yeah.
Well, but she doesn't obviously hear me using that type of language, when we're talking to each other in general. I'm not talking about dwelling atop anything. But in Flat Earth Debate, that's quite a frequently used term. But she's reading it off the page going, do you really use this terminology? I'm like, yeah.
As a matter of fact, I remember a little argument over that. They didn't want that in there. I remember that because I also say dwell atop. So it's not just an English phrase. And other people wanted to just put no, dwell on. I like dwell atop.
Yeah, it's very much a Nathan way of phrasing things. We're talking about you, and my wife's decided to come in and sit and listen because we're talking about her.
Who's that, the author?
She said yes.
Your best behavior,
Hey,
guys.
this is
On
like
your
a
best behavior.
This
Says
is
you're
like a
talking about my
Twilight
book.
Zone.
Hey, if you want to get back on the homeschooling and with the kids and classes from someone with some experience in this, the kids will forget unless they have one specific class that teaches them a certain skill. The more important investment is going to be in materials and encouragement in space and time for the kids to develop something that they're interested in. The classes are to help them figure out what they're interested in and to carry on. If the interest is there after one class, then you don't need more classes. You carry on and you get them the materials that they need and the time and space to do their art. So
the eldest is very much into being an artist, right? And this is not necessarily directly linked to what you said. My wife got us some pens, and they frickin' reek. They smell really horrible.
Oh, those are the best.
Oh, she loves them. They're her favourite pens. But as soon as she gets out, I'm like, we got a sewage leak. What's going on? It's just this stink of these pens.
Why is that?
I don't know. They just smell horrible.
It's the chemicals they put in
they're
there to make the
from China,
melted
but that's
pens.
just
That's what
totally
it is. The chemicals in the ink.
That's right.
Yeah.
The conspiracy, they're trying to kill our kids. But
But they're using the same ink, right?
yeah, you know what? I was a photographer.
Something like
I was a
must be sulfur.
photographer. Those photochemicals stunk. And some of them are toxic. If you're doing palladium printing and you got mercury and the old glass plate stuff. So I totally get it. Maybe sometimes it, for
Ammonia.
the creative aspect, it's got to think. It means it's real. It means it's true.
Yeah, the one that was most pungent to me was the ammonia. That was the one that was really strong in the photographic world and the printing industry, because I delved in that for a while, and that was the number one stinker was the ammonia.
Yeah, there's acetic acid and stuff in the fixer, so it just smells like urine.
Yeah, it doesn't smell. They smell like
Excuse me one
sewage.
second. Are you guys talking
urine.
about photo?
It does kind of smell like wee. They smell
developing?
horrible, these pens. But the colours they produce, I mean, once they're on paper, they don't smell. But when they're just open, there's like this box of them, and there's about 100 pens in there. And like I say, they're really vibrant colours. They're really beautiful. But when she's used them, like, my God.
What's the brand? My daughter maybe used those.
It's Hong Xing Fei Ho.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
I'm trying to tell you guys
Pure Chinesium.
that it's sulfur.
Probably sulfur, yeah.
It is sulfur. It's used in ink pens. In ballpoint pens, sulfur is involved in the vulcanization process of the ink sac, which is a rubber material used to create the ink sac.
What does salt sac have to do with it?
Yeah. Well, if you come to Japan, there are places where you've got the sulfur spas where you put your feet in and the chemicals clean your feet and that therapeutic sulfur, and it stinks like that all the way around the whole town. Been there many, many, many times. Okay, so sulfur foot spas. There's loads of them.
Yeah, it's called in Indiana. We've got a place called French Lick. If you look up French Lick, Indiana, it's an old ancient place where they had sulfur springs. They called it Pluto water, and basically you would go to French Lick if you were going to therapeutically bathe in the sulfur water, the Pluto water, and stuff like that.
That's weird because upstate New York, the water from tap used to have a sulfur type smell. I was like, never drinking this water. Freaking tasted like fart smell.
Small amounts, it's not bad for you.
Yeah, that's what they said about heroin too.
Yeah, it's going to be better than fluoride.
It's literally everything has a balance. Too much air. Look, can you breathe when you put your head out the window? No. Everything is deadly and yet useful.
Yeah, a little bit of heroin's okay.
It probably. I don't know what is the activist. I don't know what. I don't know, but I'm sure it came from something useful.
Crack is very Moorish. Just a little bit.
It's an opiate. Isn't it an opiate? And that's where we get morphine and
it's anesthetic.
All the other good.
Well, there you go. See?
Let me break it down for you, okay? Heroin was initially hailed as a wonder drug or miracle drug in the late 19th centuries because scientists and physicians believed it to be safer, a non-addictive alternative to morphine and codeine, primarily for pain relief and cough suppression. So there was a book, Heroin the Wonder Drug. But they're out of their minds because it's anything but a wonder drug. It's a destruction drug, maybe. But it goes way back. I mean, talking way back into the opium dens, probably even before then. But
that's all an anesthesiologist does, isn't it? It's just the regulation of how much heroin you've got in your system, basically. I mean, it's not.
Basically, yeah. They put you out, and if that always made me nervous because I'm trusting this person to measure the right amount. Like, because my son had to go in for adenoid surgery at a very young age. And it's scary because you do have some cases where people die because it was too much anesthesia.
Yeah, basically a massive overdose.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're dosing you right up to the point you're unconscious.
To the point you are unconscious, correct. You are sleeping. When I went in for surgery, I've had 2 surgeries. One on my elbow from a gang fight I was in. Broke my arm running out of the park, and I tripped over a freaking rope. And my freaking arm was like a tick-tock clock. I had to get surgery. And the other one was hernia. Both times they put me out. And I remember counting back from 10. I think I got up to 8. And then I woke up 8 hours later. But both times I put my life on the line and trusted these physicians. You got to know what you're doing.
Yep. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to end the show. So with that, another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken. We just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.